What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to Casually FC. Welcome to the Casually Chelsea show. I am your host, Marshall DBX, Casually FC, whatever. Accompanied by the starting panel of Oliver Twist, Scott, Real Chris, and the Bridge Nation. Guys, you already know what to do. Once you come into the stream, be sure to smash up the like button. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm to promote our channel to people who might be looking for something to fill their workday and help it go faster by listening to, a panel chit chat about Chelsea news and banter and debate and argue and laugh and cry and all these fun things that come with being a Chelsea fan. So yeah, go ahead and smash that like button because it helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because it helps us achieve a bigger platform here. It also helps us grow the community. And, we're on our way to 5K. Big surprise for the channel and myself here at 5K. So if you want to see what that surprise is, help us achieve that goal. If you're new here, smash that subscribe so that you can continue to enjoy the content that you're here to watch. Also, links in the description for a bunch of other stuff. Also, be sure to check out the community or check out the memberships. There's 4 different tiers starting at 99p. And also, happy Eid Mubarak to those who participate. So, let's... What?
Say,
no, you're not going to say anything. No.
It's Eid Mubarak.
No.
That's what I want to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. The American came out of me. But I mean, hey, well, let's see how this works out this time. We'll start off with Ahmed. How you doing today, man?
Man, it's another day. You know what I mean? Another life. Sadly, the
Another
football
life.
detox. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean, man. At the end of the day, listen. At the end of the day, man, enjoy my day today. I always say, man, the best feeling in life, when you're driving down the highway, man, sun shining, got wind in the air because the car windows are open, man, drinking a nice warm latte, and I'm content. I'm content with life, man. Content with life. But sadly, man, Thursday's about to change that. So, you know what I mean? That's the game, man. You know what I mean? The game's the game on that one. I might actually go to the game on Thursday. I'm feeling, what's the word? What's the opposite of feeling greedy?
Feeling giving?
No, it's not that one. I'm feeling it's okay, man. I'll find the word for it later on. But listen. At the end of the day, man, you got 2 weeks today. Upcoming week, you got two games of Chelsea football. I'll be real with you, bro. It's not looking good, bro.
Oliver, how are you feeling, man? Are you feeling greedy as well, or the opposite of greedy?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm just enjoying the peace at the moment. The international break is over, but we're not in the FA Cup, so just a bit of time to chill and forget about Chelsea for the time being, to some extent. Caught a bit of the Bournemouth versus Man City game today, and then I guess I saw the highlights of Napoli versus Milan. Not much apart from that, just went out to eat with the family because it's Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to anyone watching that applies to. But yeah, that's it really.
Happy Mother's Day as well to all the mothers watching, or all you guys watching who have mothers. So make sure to say Happy Mother's Day to your mothers. Scott definitely did, and Scott also learned about Milan today. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, did watch the video. I'd highly recommend anyone that hasn't seen it to go and watch. And anyone just doesn't watch his content, HITC7's content, watch the Milan video. I think it was like the other day, yesterday, a couple of days ago. It was very interesting. They're a mess, even worse than us. But I'm good. Yeah, just kind of chilled today, just relaxed. Like Oliver said, just enjoy Mother's Day. Didn't really do much, to be honest, which was quite nice.
Yeah, there you go. And then Chris, last but not least, I'm sure you're excited to watch Chelsea again.
Sheep shagging nation.
Stop laughing, bro. Just say something.
There we
Fucking A. So you're excited
you
to
feel-
watch Chelsea. All you're doing is just
You put
chuckling.
me off and saying like you're gonna be excited to watch Chelsea. I don't even know when Chelsea play. I haven't even looked.
Oh
Okay,
my
brother.
days, bro.
I just know when it happens. Like I hear
Thursday 8 p.m. man. Thursday 8 p.m. man.
There
Tune
you
in,
go,
Chris. You know what I mean?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, we played
Yes,
Thursday.
because they did the stupid thing of like not doing it the week after
Yeah,
for some
that's
reason. Yeah, you know what I mean? Woke nonsense again, man. Football, man. Again, you know what I mean? I don't want to speak again. This channel I might be getting a card if I say certain people are destroying the sport, but we're gonna keep it talking.
Oh my good. All right, so Chris doesn't know when the game is, and
Oh,
here
no, I
we
haven't
are
looked.
to
I'm
inform you.
not bothered to look.
Congrats.
To be fair, prior to 48 hours ago, I thought the game was like on the weekend, like it typically would be.
Yeah,
but,
I assumed the weekend. That's it.
yeah, I assumed the weekend, but hey, and then I found out it was Thursday, so kind of threw
Well,
off my
shit,
plans.
We're against
I
Tottenham,
don't.
aren't we?
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have a Tottenham preview. I'll be honest with you, because it threw me off completely. The fact that it was on Thursday. I'll see how that happens, guys. You'll be posted up and notified when that goes, if that's gonna go on. So, got to talk to some people. We'll find out who we can get as Tottenham rep and when we can fit that in, and then we'll see if we can do it on the channel. Jacob's fucking busy as shit, so I gotta figure out when he's available. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, guys, let's now that all that's set to the side, everyone's doing all right. Some people not so optimistic of the Chelsea future to come, and some people, I guess, upset with the way we've treated some Chelsea players. And to start off, today's show is a topic that we didn't get to talk about last week because, we're over here covering many more important things, I would say. But to start us off and ramp up the stream, a little bit of Chilwell sympathy. Who knew who I was talking about before I said
Yeah,
the
I
topic?
did straight away.
All right, so this is usually where I would put the tweets. Let me go ahead and get that. There you
It's
go.
loading.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so pretty much.
Bloody hell! What is this
Chil-
paragraph?
it's a lot. Chilwell was on ITV Sport on Chelsea. He was asked, I guess, how things have been because I don't know. He was out of favor. Now he's at Crystal Palace, also out of favor there. But we look at here. He says, I was training by myself a lot of the days. You're not involved in the matchday squads, and you kind of just wait for the opportunity for when you're going to go somewhere. If you go somewhere in January and you're miles off the pace, you've got to put the work in. The only person who is losing out is you. Training by yourself a lot for a number of months isn't easy, but I think the only thing that was keeping me going was I knew I was going to go somewhere, whether that was January or the end of the season. These past 4 or 5 months has given me the opportunity to mentally and physically realign, refocus, and reset to go again. There were a lot of circumstances at Chelsea that were not in my control, which I completely respect, but the things I could control was how I came into training every day and how I trained, whether it was by myself or with the group, and that is a reflection on myself. Now, obviously, this came out, and you had Chelsea fans looking to crash it on the ownership, of course, and just completely criticize and damn near just throw to the wayside how we treated Ben Chilwell. Listen, I don't think it's ideal. Obviously, I know that. However, the player was well out of favor. This is, to me, in my opinion, guys, this is opposite of the Chalobah situation. I felt like last season, Chalobah had played enough games and his performances merited that he should be given a chance. When he was ostracized and, left out of the club and the training and forced to make a move, I thought that was unfair considering what we saw last season. Now, he could have came in from the beginning and put up some stinkers, and I would have been like, okay, whatever, get out of here. Same thing goes with Sterling. Same thing doesn't go with Sterling. For me, Chilwell and Sterling are in the same camp. You guys have played multiple times under Chelsea, under multiple managers. Both of you have not performed. Chilwell significantly less, right? Because he was just injured and just complete shit. So I'm sure they were told at some point, listen, you guys have to move it along. And they weren't able to, so they were ostracized as a result. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I understand it's not an ideal circumstance, but at the same time, do I care that much? I hate to come off cold-hearted. I don't really, because you guys needed to go as it is. But I guess we'll start off with Chris. I mean, Chris, what are your thoughts on this whole Chilwell scenario? Do you even care?
I don't feel like that bad for the player. Like, he was on 200k a week at Chelsea. Like, I'm
That's
sure
also
he's
true.
had, like, feel sympathy for a player because it's a train loan. I don't really feel that much sympathy. Yeah, like, he's not playing and he will train hard and he got, game time at Crystal Palace. But, no, like, I don't really feel any sympathy for the guy. Like, I think he's a really good player, but, like, injuries just fucked him, and it is what it is, you move on. I remember it was some young player who said he would have stayed at Chelsea for free, not even being paid because of the injuries or whatever, and he wanted to stay. It begins with an M. I forgot his name now. He's Belgium. It's a long time. Yeah, do you remember, Scott? He wanted to stay, and I actually felt bad for him because he wanted to stay on no wages or something like that.
Wait, who was it?
Charlie Musonda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie Musonda.
They wanted to get rid of him, and he wanted to stay without wages or something just to prove that he can make it. And yeah, like, so no, I don't feel bad for Chilwell. Like, he's like 30-something years old. He's done his career. Like, it kind of sounds a bit harsh saying that.
I don't think he's even over 30, dude.
He is 30.
No, he's
like
not.
28, 29.
No, he's not. He's 28.
Really? He's been around forever. I feel like. I feel like the same age as Luke Shaw, like 30, like 31. And don't tell me Luke Shaw's like under 30 too.
This is true. We did give him a new contract.
Yeah, like he's on 200k.
Yeah, Luke Shaw is under 30. Luke Shaw's 29, bro.
Really?
He started playing. To be fair, Luke Shaw started playing like Premier League football when he was 18.
Yeah,
so,
I
like,
remember.
that's why he feels like he's been around for ages. He's been at United for.
Yellow card for Chris for not knowing people's ages.
Oh, fuck their ages, man.
Damn.
Hey,
I
yo.
don't care about their ages.
It's a bit crazy.
Whoa.
Rude.
Yeah, I think
You got two
Shaw's
people's
been at
ages wrong.
United Shaw's been at United for 10
Insinuating they're
years.
old.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, Shaw's been at United for 10 years.
Yeah, he's been there for a long
11
time.
actually. He's not even 10. He's actually 11 now.
No, I think this year's 10. This year's 10.
I thought last year was 10. Because I remember last year was 10 year now.
I swear this year's 10 because he was playing when he was 18.
No, because they were complaining about the fact that last year he was going into his 10th year. So this year he's going to his 11th year. So that's what I thought. No.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Either way,
but-
he's either in his 10th or 11th year at United.
End of the day, Chilwell's career's ended anyway, so it's over.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, but I mean-
He joined United in 2014, so this would be his 10th season.
So this is his 10th season, yeah.
This is his 11th season, guys. 14 in 2025, bro. It's 11 years.
Why would we find out after 10 years, 11 years?
No. This is his 10th season, bro. It started 2024. He joined United in 2014.
Yeah, so okay.
Yeah, because
You can't do maths, brother.
2025.
That's why I check myself slightly.
Yeah, next season, 2025-26 will be his 11th season. Yes.
Yeah, but like, listen, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of pushback because I think we're kind of being unfair to Chilwell to an extent. I think to an extent, right? Because I think when you saw what Chilwell was doing for us, I think I'll probably say the first two seasons, in my personal opinion, right? So that was the season under Lampard Tuchel, second season under Tuchel, and then obviously he had a whole season where he essentially was out, and then he obviously came back the season under Poch, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's when he really came back into the team. Right,
Played a
obviously
bit
that
under
period,
Potter.
but under that period in time, I thought he was probably a very good left back for us. He wasn't bad. He wasn't that bad that often. He was consistent. I think he was a consistent.
He's one of the better players. He's one of the better players.
Yeah, he was consistently solid for us. Did a great for us forward. Even his second season, he actually improved under Tuchel out-wise as well in terms of what he was doing alongside Reece. Now, yes, I agree with you. I've been one of the guys that's always said, particularly last season, that he was cooked. Like we all agree here. We all knew that, right?
Injury fucked him, yeah.
Yeah, the injuries basically cooked him. That's what I've always said about Chilwell. But the problem for me, I have where I'm a bit more sympathetic for him, is you have to look at the club now, right? The reason why I say you have to look at the club is because the club gave this guy a 2 additional seasons, bro. Right? So you have to, on some level, bro, you can criticize Chilwell for what he's done, but you have to look at the club too. They gave him 2+ years, so they've made it even harder for him, to actually, to actually sell him. Right,
oh no, that's not
true.
Chilwell. That's not Chilwell's fault accepting the contract. No, that's
right.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I agree with you on that.
No, but because that's what I'm saying. Like, listen, we can say Chilwell be a left-hander like that. Yes, that's obviously not a great thing in my personal opinion. I think sometimes, listen, I get when people who are, when we leave people out to dry, and yes, they may have money. Yes, okay, we may not need to feel horrible for them. But at the end of the day, bro, it's not great for players emotionally, bro. Because like, imagine if that guy we leave out to dry, then decides to come back.
You can force yourself, but Ahmed, you can force yourself to get out the club, though. Like,
but the problem is, Chris. My issue is, Chris. Who are we barely even got a loan for him at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I know.
There's no clubs going after him, bro. Right? So I think on some level, bro, you have to kind of look at the club too.
But that's not the club's fault either. Like, if a club,
That is the
club
club's fault because
why?
This is why I'd agree with Ahmed, and I'll say like
I agree most of what said still, but
I blame the club in some of this as well because I agree with Ahmed. You gave this guy an extension for no reason and have given him 200 grand a week, which has made it nigh impossible to get rid of him. Like, we're never selling him. Like, because unless you're willing to take, well, they've already shown they're not willing to take small fees, really, when it comes to these players. Unless they're willing to take like a 10 mil, 5 mil fee and just get rid of him no matter what, it's which I don't think they are. We're just going to have to release him at the end of his contract, which I don't know when that is. I think I want to say 2027.
So plus 2 years would be 2027, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I,
or it might be 26. It might be next summer.
No, because he signed a 5-year in 2020 when we signed him, so plus 2 would be 2027.
It depends when he signed it though, because it doesn't add on. It's a 2-year extension from when he signs it, if that makes sense. Yeah,
that was
so it's 2027 when he leaves, and so this is a guy who was never going to suit the system anyway. We saw last season how washed he was, and it wasn't just a Poch thing. There are a lot of players where you could say it was a Poch thing. It was never a Poch thing with Chilwell. You could see he was washed, passing terrible, defensively awful. Like,
we're trying to shoehorn him into winger, pretty much.
Actually,
You saw when he played left back, kind of why that was, because defensively he sucks. He's never been amazing defensively. That's the thing. He's never been amazing defensively.
But he got worse.
That's why him playing a wing back worked. But he's even worse defensively now than he was. By the way, side note, he's not starting over Tyreek Mitchell at Palace, by the way. He's played 3 games since they signed him. Or 3 games in the league, I should say. He can't defend. In a possession system, he's never been good. Right from when he was at Leicester, there are tweets that are out there from Leicester fans of when he was there on some of his shortcomings as a player that are still true today. Which means he's not developed in certain areas, passing being one of them. So if we want to go this route with this system, he was never going to work. I'll be real. Chilwell has sucked for a few years. What was that? Was it the Juventus game? He got that injury. Since then, he's not been good.
Yeah,
that injury, he's not. And I'll be real. It's not even just that injury. It's also just the style of play and everything. I think even without the injuries and this style of play, he was never going to be good enough because he doesn't.
Maybe not.
No, because he can't invert.
No.
Overlapping, he's decent. He's got a good, decent cross, but in possession, he's not good. He can't offer anything dribbling wise. Like
I
he's
felt like
just
the wing back role was perfect for him under Tuchel because he can just run
he's
in.
just
there
not a
and
good
just
player.
take
I'll be
the
real.
shot and
He is.
pop
I've said this before. He is Marcus Alonso with a passport at this point, without the free kicks.
He could run back a lot quicker, trap back an Alonso, but that's the one thing I liked. Like he can
Nah,
actually
he
trap.
really
Like,
can't.
you didn't think?
listen,
No, Alonso was really slow. I thought.
Yeah,
No, he
Yeah,
wasn't
so
like
he's
super
still,
fast.
bro.
Yeah.
No, like
I don't-
I'm talking about before his injury. Like he wasn't like that slow. He wasn't.
Yeah, but
fast.
let's. I want to ask like a real question. Like we can listen. We can start doing who he's based off and everything else. That doesn't really matter to me because we need to also think about the here and now. His Crystal Palace alone right now is not going well either. Let's be realistic about that too, right?
It's not.
So and listen, and his price level is already low. My problem is gonna be when it comes summertime to sell him. We know what these guys love doing. We need to break even on him. We need to do something with him, bro. Yeah, that's what they're gonna start.
Well,
doing. And the thing is, they need to.
Right.
Well,
And
hold
this
on,
is.
though, Ahmed.
And this
I
is.
feel like, well,
no.
actually, maybe not, because I feel like they may not be as penny pinchy with Chilwell because it wasn't
They were
a
penny-
contract. Well, no,
Oh,
I'm only
Ahmed, it
saying
doesn't-
because they wasn't signed under them. Like they didn't
It-
pay an
also-
initial transfer fee. It was Roman.
It doesn't actually matter anymore because his whole amortized fee would have been paid by.
Yeah.
This would have been the last payment this year, so
So
there's
it's all
no more
profit
left on his
for
book
him.
value.
All right, we'll see. That happens, but listen,
Yeah.
I mean,
We know who these guys are, man. These guys are
That's just the way it is
pinching.
based on his initial contract.
The part of it also is that these guys were penny pinching over Cassidy, so and that's a reason.
yeah,
for
but
that.
they spent money on.
I think there's a
but
difference
like-
though, Ahmed, because like. Sorry, you can go, Scott.
I would say like it's just different. Like because I agree with Ahmed. Like I think you could say they bought Cassidy, but it doesn't matter. That's not the problem. They want to make money on these players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Even with the Cassidy thing, it's like they didn't even really make anything. Like
How
they
much
made
was that
2 mil book profit,
Oh wow.
and they were penny pinching over that. And so it's like I agree with Ahmed. Like I think when it comes to this, like that's why I think with him and Sterling, I think they'll be here till their contracts finish and they'll just release them on a free.
Boy. Yeah.
I think that's what it's gonna be because
I feel like Sterling is more ambitious. Sterling and his agent is more ambitious about getting out of Chelsea than.
Marshall, it's not about getting out. We had this conversation I think recently about when we had the Sanchez conversation about there being a market for these players. When it comes to Ben Chilwell, there has to be a market for who he is. He's not a left back anymore. He has to play in a back five system. Notice, by the way, the team he's gone to plays a back five system. Like he played once for us as left back for 45 minutes against Morecambe or whoever it was in the cup. Like he's not a left back anymore. So if he's going to a back five system, he doesn't fit United in their back five as a wing back. We're already seeing he doesn't start at Palace. Who else plays a back five in the league? Southampton are about to get relegated. He's not going to go and play in the Championship.
Not even United either.
No, but United he doesn't fit United. Like
No, I agree with you. I'm pointing out that he can't even go
He
to
needs to
United
go
either.
abroad. He just needs to go abroad.
So where can he go? Like who
Yeah.
else plays a back five system?
Italian league.
Unless he's going to go to West Ham, but they've already got a better left wing back than him.
Can you go to EPL Tuff's comment? Because I think EPL Tuff comment, I think, I get where EPL Tuff is coming from, right? And I think that's a good point. But the problem is, right now at Chelsea, there are a lot of players that we have, bro, that whether we like it or not, bro, the values that we have brought them for, bro, and the value they are currently, bro, is just too far apart, bro. Like it's gonna genuinely take, some of these clubs being genuinely delusional, right, and agreeing of us, to be able to meet some of these prices, bro. I again go back to Chilwell. Who's spoken about now. Sterling's another one. We spoke about Santos many times on this channel. You know, Disasi, unironically, is going to be one of those guys, I'm afraid. You're going to have to take a 10 million wage cut from what you brought in for. Badie Shaw, you know what, Badie Shaw, he might actually break even for you. He's the one that I might actually be like, you know what, because he brought him in for 30 million, we can make 30 million back on him. That's
you think
actually...
for 30?
Yeah, for 30. Yeah,
I
if you get him,
think
you can break
25,
even
yeah.
on him. You can break even on him. He can actually break even on him, right?
But...
I was gonna say the thing that Matty Shaw's got on his side is he's young. He is young enough to the point where like he can develop more. And like there is at least like, even though he's had some issues, he is similar to Disasi in a sense of like if you can get him in the right system where you're not asking too much of him and you can have someone next to him as a bit more of a leader at the back, you can make it work. The difference between him and Disasi is number one, the price, we pay slightly less, and number two, the age. he's got that on his side. So like you could like the fact Newcastle were interested in him before we bought him, and that was before they got Botman because they didn't think they were going to get Botman. Botman is now out again with an injury. So like that, for example, could be something that reopens. Another Premier League team could get him for all we know. A French team could be interested. Like there could be a market for Badiashile where you get it. But on that comment as well, like we're not setting a precedent for selling people cheap because we're getting the most out of people like Lukaku, and we're getting the most. Yeah, and we're getting the most out of people like Hutchinson. And if things are going well, and like they're like Leslie, for example, we should be looking to get at least what we made, if not at least 30 mil for Leslie. So we don't have to settle for or set precedent selling players cheap because you've got those players you're getting top price for. Yeah. Same with Vega. The players that you should be selling cheap and just getting rid of and being like almost fuck the price is like Chilwell, Sterling. Yeah. Who else am I trying?
Already did it with Timo Werner.
A big dent in your wages.
Yeah.
But
like, you know
those two. Yeah. To a lesser extent, Disassi, Sanchez when we sell him, like just get rid of them because the market isn't there.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes,
just get rid of them. It's what we did with Batshuayi for years. Like we haggled over 5 million with Leeds to then loan him to Besiktas for the same price.
Yeah, and also Scott, just to add, there's one thing, that the market knows. Yeah, we can try to. You can't trick the market every single time, bro. You know what I mean? Like you just can't. Like, and plus, there's certain players that everyone in football knows, bro, is not good enough. Again, we go back to Sanchez, Chilwell, and Sterling, bro. Like there's guys that we just know, bro. They're just not good enough, bro. And you know what is, people keep on talking about Italian system, bro. The Italian clubs are the most brokey clubs ever.
They are.
He's also not better than Dorgu, by the way, at all in any sense, in any play.
Yeah, he both have
I would have given you Dallo just for a cheeky side jab at.
I'm not even saying this to big up Ahmed. Dallo's better than him.
I'm saying, listen, listen, relax, Chris, relax, man. Shag a sheep. But
Topic
has to change, Chris.
Sorry, Chris?
You said you're going to give Ahmed a yellow. He's abusing me.
You want another yellow for dissent?
Yeah, give him a yellow. He's abusing
You know what, Chris, man? You should be getting a yellow for no white 6 on SmackDown. How about that? Hold that you forward. But
okay.
You know what I mean? But no, whoa, that's crazy. But what? Yo, that's mad. But listen, at the end of the day, Chilwell, I think can we say he's been a solid player for us who declined due to injuries. I think if you say it like that, I think that's actually the most nuanced and relaxed take, bro, you can have.
I can't.
You don't need to necessarily. You can't. I don't think he's a legend, right? But if you call maybe a step below it, right?
Cult leader.
I don't know if he was a cult leader either.
No, he's not a cult hero. He's not a legend. He was a player that played one.
I say leader.
No. I'm not gonna call him a legend. That's why. But you know, like how sometimes people like to call people that have won like a UCL for you or something like that. You know, like how they I don't know what they call them. There's like a term that they use, like maybe
pre-injury, he was a good player for
cult hero, and he's not a cult hero.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, okay, then that's fair enough. Then you know what? That's fair enough. At the end of the day, listen, he's just been a solid player for us. For Andrew's had declined. Simple.
Yeah, you had a good couple of years at Chelsea, and
Harry Pirate, mate, you are the mod. How can you tell someone to stop spamming? Can you not control you? You know what I mean? What's going on?
Curry, it's okay.
Big up to Curry, though. Big up to my boy Curry, man.
Big up Curry.
Yeah, he is just a player. He's just a player that played for us that wanted to. Don't even.
What would you consider? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Played in the UCL final. We won against Bayern. Moraes? I can't pronounce his name.
Val Morales. Oh, Val Morales.
Raul Morales.
Yeah,
I like him. I like him.
No, he didn't play Champions League, did he? He played in the Europa League.
He played the final.
He did play against Napoli. I remember that. He scored a banger. Yeah.
No. He played. He was a part of our UCL winning squad.
You remember that banger he scored against Napoli? Do you remember that banger?
Yeah. The final.
Like that was a
I don't remember him playing the final. But I know he was. No, he didn't play the final. But he was a part of our UCL winning squad. He won the UCL with us.
Yeah,
he was on the bench.
Against Napoli. I remember he played.
He's more of a cult hero.
Yeah, he did.
He's actually more of a cult hero.
Oh, okay.
He's
more.
He's
more.
Marshall, he won an FA Cup as well. So That's one thing.
Yeah.
He's a great. He was actually a good player. I thought.
Was Chilwell in the fucking team when we won Super Cup and Club World Cup and stuff?
No,
He was
no.
when Chilwell
He got to
might have
Mar-
been benched. He didn't play though,
Sophie.
and
Yeah,
in the
that's
Club
true.
World Cup, he was in the Club World Cup. He had his ACL injury.
But he had the ACL injury because he got injured in the Juve game, Marshall, in November.
In the Super Cup against Villarreal, Marcus Alonso started that game.
Okay.
He was really good in that game, actually. To be fair to him,
He was. Actually.
Yeah, no, Alonso had a good start to that season.
He did, yeah.
Also, like Ramirez, he's a cult hero to me.
Yeah, I guess I would put Chilwell underneath that. Like he's just
underneath that.
A good servant of the club. How about that?
Yeah,
a good servant
yeah.
of the club. Yeah, because I mean, he was a part of the play that got us the goal for Champions League. He was in that final, that team in the final. But it's just unfortunate.
Hold up, Marshall.
Wait, what's he holding?
It's just unfortunate that the injury got to him, because him and James were looking at one point like the best wing back pairing in the world, and it just went downhill from there.
But he didn't escape your cooking though, did he, Marshall? Man, he used to cook him like barbecue chicken. I'll be honest, bro.
Me?
Yes, you.
I don't recall cooking him.
You used to
he was
cook
shit
this
last
guy
season.
when he used to be left wing. He actually used to cook him worse than Scott. So I remember when he used to play left wing and Scott would
I gotta
just lose
look back.
it,
I gotta check the VAR because
the VAR on you, mate. Listen. My memory is quite good usually.
I don't remember.
And if I remember correctly, you used to be. Listen, you used to have like a 5-course meal on him. I swear to God, he used to be like your he used to be a mouse. He used to be like like how Mount was a crash. Your crash bag. The
Mount. I do remember. I'll give you that.
This
Mount,
guy was
crash out of Mount a lot.
He was your new man. I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah, well, maybe I gotta look back. VAR. But all right. Speaking of, actually, funny enough, we're just talking about Chilwell. Let's talk about some comments made by the manager that actually brought him to Chelsea, and that's Lampard.
Oh,
so Lampard did an interview recently. I think it was for Sky. Yeah, it was. Okay, and he said some things that I think people are blowing way out of proportion. So Frank Lampard came out and said, even going back to Chelsea as interim, he was talking about his career. So far as a manager, it was really tough at the time at the club, and I saw a lot of things and people question like, was it the right thing to do? I'm absolutely better for the experience of that, even though it was 6-7 weeks. I saw things that I know can't be right at the elite club, at the elite level, and that's the truth. Now, people are taking this as jabs at the club and so on and so forth. I don't even necessarily think it's so much of a jab at the club. I think it's just saying that from that experience of the results that were happening, the lack of training that was happening. I don't know if you guys remember. I know Oliver brought this up to me at the time. It was Graham Potter wasn't even training the players. The players were unfit for when Lampard got there.
Lampard said as much in his own press conferences.
Exactly. And it's just like, I think when you look into that and you add that context to it, he's probably talking about like the mistakes he made and how the mistakes that were being made that season. Not so much taking a jab at the establishment. I mean, the other thing too. I mean, he did have 43-man squad or some bullshit. The amount of players he had to tell, like, you guys can't play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, they got 11 players on the pitch, and there's so many of you. So he's probably talking about that. I don't see this as a jab at the club. I mean, Oliver, what are your thoughts on this? Because I'm sure you've seen the backlash that the fans have shown Lampard.
I didn't even know there was backlash to this. I'll be honest.
You show me where this backlash is, because I can't lie. All I'm seeing is, go on Super Frank, you're calling out the bad owners. That's all I see on Twitter. I don't see any of this bashing on Frank Lampard. Certainly not. My reaction to this, I just find it kind of ironic that Frank Lampard, the manager, is talking about things not being right in elite football. That's all I have to say. He is not one to talk as a manager. Fair enough. As the player, we'll always say, he's one of, if not our best of all time. But as a manager, he came in and he made us worse. That's just the long and short of it, really. Our defense was actually solid that season. despite all of the flaws with the squad building of having too many players and our dreadful attack, our defence was actually good, and he came in and ruined it. So I just find it quite ironic, but yeah, I don't really have much more to say than that.
Scott, your thoughts on Lampard's comments here?
I think it's the right message and the wrong messenger. Like,
I agree with that.
You can see that what is being done, and I think we're seeing it this season as well. And like, ultimately, even though at the time I think there was a lot more willingness from like a large portion of the fan base to see how things played out because it was first season and everything, like there wasn't too many things that were to what we're doing now. But yeah, like you can see that some of the things we did and some of the things we're doing, it's not how an elite club is run. Like, it's never been how you run an elite club. But this was coming from anyone else, I could hear it. Like, and I still kind of hear it. It's just, like I said, it's just the wrong person to be talking about this, because this is a man who came back and had one win in, what was it, like 9 games?
Yeah.
Really? When he came back?
It was 1 in 11.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, we were
the only win he had in his entire... Yeah, his only win he had in his entire run back once he came back to us was against Bournemouth, I think.
And they were relegation threatened at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. Like what? I mean, I agree what Scott just said.
Hey, Kante and Gallagher on the wing at the Bernabeu.
Oh yeah, he also ruined. He also
he's just not a good manager.
Yet again, this is a man who managed to yet again rush Kante back from injury and ruin him again because he played him right wing.
That is true. I remember he got injured again after just having been injured most of the season.
Yeah. But taking out Lampard to have bad manager, right? He is right though. Just the players want to leave and all that.
He's the worst manager.
Well,
it's him or
that's Scott's point. It's
no, I agree. That's what I mean. I agree with what Scott said, like fully.
Yes, the message is right, but if anyone else is saying it, you'd probably take it
because
seriously.
He's no better than them. He's not a league manager. Not near that.
I joked on Twitter, he must have looked in the mirror if he saw things that weren't right for elite football, but
God damn.
I wouldn't be too brutal to Lampard.
I mean, listen, that's just the reality of it. People have got to accept that. As much as they love him as a person and as a player, he's at Coventry for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Scott said. I think
they're pretty quiet this week, by the way. They're pretty quiet this weekend, aren't they? Losing to Sheffield United. I don't hear what anyone's saying, but he's better than Enzo Maresca this weekend.
I know, that's just a load of nonsense.
Oh yeah,
3-1 to Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I like that Lampard's doing well for himself over at Coventry, but at the same time, it's like, let's slow down on this whole idea of bringing him back to the club. Like, can we not? Have we not already learned our lesson from the previous iterations of it? Like, let's wait until he does it in the Premier League before we even consider that. Even if we are in a position where we need to go back to Frank Lampard, there's no need. There's no need. There's other managers I'd rather go back to first before Frank Lampard. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, listen, if there's one thing I've learned in this world, you just need to realize, man, with Lampard, I always said before, you need to separate the manager and the player. As of right now, when it comes to Lampard, listen, you may have one thing I will give him credit for is that he definitely knows how an elite club is run, because he was a player who was a part of an elite club.
This is true,
right? So he definitely knows, how it is run. Like, that is undeniable.
Actually, to be fair, of all the previous, or of all the managers we've had, Frank Lampard probably knows the club better than anyone. I mean, he played under it under Roman, then he managed under it under Roman, and then he managed again under it under the new ownership. So he's got like real insight as to how it's changed, what it's become now, and so on and so forth. Not that it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying.
I mean, the only ones that come close in that. The only ones that come close in that regard are probably maybe Vialli when he managed us, or Mourinho because he managed us for like 5 years.
Yeah,
that's probably it.
I just think for me, I don't know why we're cooking him. At the end of the day, bro, he's doing this thing at Coventry. Let's keep it pushing. I don't see anyone asking for him to return unless they're unless they're brain dead. And if that's the case, then listen,
and they are too.
Godspeed to them, as I always say. But the reality is, man, let's just give him space, man. I feel like we put too much pressure on Lampard too soon. Let him learn his trade. He's doing it the hard way now, for lack of a better word. And let's keep it pushing, really.
I mean, On the topic of keeping it pushing, I mean, there's another one that I'd like to bring up. More comments from an ex-Chelsea player. And before we do that, guys, over 60 of you guys watching, go ahead and smash a like on your way in. Wipe your feet at the door. It helps us out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And it's free. And it takes little to no effort. Just breathe in, breathe out, smash the like button. All right, let's go on to the next topic. JT had some comments to say, and some things have been some things have been discussed in regards to Mr. John Terry. So let's go ahead and start off with the first set of comments here, which is John Terry on Reece James' best position, which we talked about last week, right? I agree with Tuchel's assessment. I see him as a defender. I don't like it, to be honest. People drifting into midfield. I think it's more confusing. Which, sure, maybe, to each their own. I could see where you're coming from. But that's your opinion, sure. But obviously, when people see John Terry saying something like that, then it spreads like wildfire. See, look, our greatest ever player, our legend, says Maresca's a fraud, whatever. And then the next thing that was brought up was John Terry revealed that his dream is to become a Chelsea manager one day, and he said this in his TalkSport interview. Unfortunately, the Blues legend admitted realistically it's not going to happen without him rising up to the level coaching in the academy setup. Every Chelsea fan would no doubt join JT in dreaming to make this a reality one day, and I'm sure
I want him to
sure
prove it. Though, he has to definitely not be thrown in like Lampard.
Whoever wrote that, I don't think they're talking for everyone. I can't lie.
Yeah, but you already know some people already entertain the idea. We're like, yeah, dude, I'd take Terry right now. He knows the mentality of the club. And
there absolutely are those people, but there are also people that will look at his personal life and some of the things that he's done and not.
I don't think that would matter though. Like if he did get hired though.
That will matter to some people, trust me.
Oh, you mean people? Sorry. I think meant
fans, like
commentators. No, I thought you meant to the ownership. My bad. Because I won't matter to the ownership.
Who knows? Who knows?
If he proves himself to be a good manager, I don't think that would matter, to be honest. Like, just sad reality.
I mean, sadly, in the era we're in, bro, I don't think it would matter, sadly.
Yeah, like.
I mean, to be fair though, guys, I
don't want him thrown in if he hasn't proven it all, though. That'd be
the problem is, listen. I definitely would not agree with it. The nickname I gave him before, CLLR. You know what I mean? I gave him that many a time before. You've heard me say it before. But the reality is, bro, in the era we live in, bro, they'll be like, he's a change man, he's a reform man. You know what I mean? You got other guys in power now, bro, that haven't said worse than even what he's done. You know what I mean? They would just throw it under the carpet and keep it pushing, bro.
I mean,
and the problem is, bro, you know what I mean? Even though it's unjustifiable, bro, they will find a way to make it justifiable, bro. And then that would actually really I don't even know how I don't even know how I could support the club at that point. I'll be honest with you, bro. It would I feel very complicated what the club if he was manager. I'll be honest. I have very complex feelings about that because I can't support him. I'll be real with you, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the whole JT management situation, I find it baffling. And listen, I'm not trying to disrespect the legacy of JT. Obviously, great center back for the club. The best center back we've ever had. Probably the best center back in, Premier League history, right? In terms of the dreams to be a manager one day, I just find it odd that we've been talking about this, about JT being a Chelsea manager now for a surplus of 5 years.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
And I've yet to see him really take a club like Lampard has done in Coventry and Derby and Everton. I've yet to see him take a real position in management. He's been an assistant for the past.
The highest level he got to was assistant coach to Dean Smith at Aston Villa.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, I mean, JT, you're saying all this, but when is it going to happen? When are you going to start the first step into trying to achieve that? You're saying it's your dream. Yeah, exactly. Lampard and Gerrard have.
The problem with Terry is that I think Terry on some levels also realized, bro, that he's not good enough for the managerial stuff. I actually believe that's what he believes because if you look at the jobs he's taken, he's always been assistant manager, bro. He's never one step up to do the managerial. Even in the academy, bro. I don't think he does. Does he do coaching in the academy? All I hear is that he's like the advisor to a lot of these kids. He advises the kids.
I think that's what it is. Yeah,
that's pretty much what. If I'm not mistaken, I may be speaking out of my ass as usual in regards to some of the stuff, but at the end of the day, listen, we've seen what happens before. We've seen what happens before, bro. A lot of these ex-legends come into football clubs, bro. It doesn't work out either, right?
Yeah.
Right, 99%. Listen, in the old days and in the new days, it's always this. It's usually the same, bro. Old guys coming back to the club to do the business never truly works. You know what I mean? Again, Ancelotti's one of the exceptions, obviously, for what he did at AC Milan. Who's another one that obviously I forget. Conte was another one exception, and then Pep Guardiola, right? Cruyff. Yeah, not Rijkaard as well. There's only like a few exceptions that I'm talking about. And again, these are basically the guys I'm talking about, bro. Are like 3 clubs, bro, right now, which is Juve, AC, and Barca, if that makes sense, and Man City, obviously. But because and Zidane, sorry, Arteta, I wouldn't really include him in just yet because I think Arteta is doing well managerially, but I think with him, it's about the end product now. If that makes sense, Vastor. You can say yes, he's been a solid manager for them, but as he taking them over the line, Vastor, I would have to disagree, bro.
Sorry, what are we talking about? I kind of got distracted a bit. I did it, Chris.
No. The point I was just trying to, I was just making the point, Scott, that legends coming back to clubs, bro. 99.9% of the time leads to failure.
Arteta's not a legend.
I know, but he was mentioned Arteta, and I was just saying no. But anyway, I was just making the point that legends coming back to a club never usually ends well. All right. In fact, isn't Motta a former Juve guy, if I'm not mistaken?
Trying to think of like examples because I think there are examples. Let me check.
Well,
Ancelotti counts because he was an AC guy. Ancelotti counts.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you got Ancelotti. He was who I was looking at. You got Ancelotti. You got
Pep. You got Pep, of course. You've got
Pep. You've got
Zidane. Zidane, in recent memory.
Yeah, Zidane. You've got
Cruyff. Cruyff's another one because of what he did at Barca for them.
Yeah.
Like how he changed the academy. And then
Ahmed Motta wasn't Juventus, no.
Fair enough, thank you. Rijkaard is another one because he actually revamped the whole Barca team and won something for them. Diego Simeone, yeah, I can include Diego Simeone in that one. Yeah, but that's only like we really got like 5, like
5,
right?
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm just trying to make is these guys never usually do at their own club. And then listen. The thing about Lampard, bro, you left to look at Lampard, bro. Lampard's legacy as a manager,
it's terrible.
No, it's been it's hurt his legacy. I remember, I think I said on the stream before, you have to now separate Lampard, from his managerial era and as a player, because I always say, Lampard the player, legend, greatest player for Chelsea of all time. There's no denying that. But you also have to realize there was the managerial era, bro. You know what I mean? That's the one that I like to put under the carpet. But for some reason, some people on these streams, it's like to bring it back up all the time because there's no point of us bringing it up, bro. Let's remember the good memories, bro. All I know is that I remember 2015 when he left my club. After 2016, yes, that's the Lampard I remember. After that, I choose to forget everything else.
No, fair enough, and obviously I don't disagree with JT. Being what started this conversation. Listen, if you really dream about joining Chelsea at some point as a manager. Bro, we've been talking about this for 5 years now, and you still haven't even taken a single management position to really work your way up the ladder. We need to see what you're made of, if that's the case. But I agree with Ahmed as well. Maybe he doesn't see himself in that light. He doesn't see himself as competent enough to take on that job. He's seen how Dean Smith struggled. He's seen how other managers have struggled as an assistant. Go ahead, Oliver.
I mean, like in fairness to John Terry, it seems like he's being very realistic about how likely it is that it actually happens. So at least he's not gaslighting himself into believing the dream.
Yeah, Lampard is still learning. We'll see, and we'll see how long. Because sometimes it's not even about learning. Sometimes I feel like more or less, maybe it's not an English or manager thing. Maybe it's just managers in general. More or less, there's an ego thing involved and kind of just sticking to their guns about certain ways of playing. And some managers, I think, who was it? I saw Oliver retweeted it. It was a manager. Was it Sean Dyche? Or was it, what's his name? That had no tactics. And then when asked, it's like, don't ask me for tactics.
Steve Bruce.
Are you talking about the Dwight Gale?
Dwight Gale, yes, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. Like I feel
Steve
Go
Bruce
ahead.
is.
Steve Bruce is actually shocking the amount of jobs he's actually got in lower management, bro. Sunderland, Newcastle.
Bro, it's like it's all of these
It's
English,
crazy.
it's all of these old English managers keep like, bro, they're like cockroaches. They can't die. Like they are. To be fair, they are now starting to like die like metaphorically speaking, not in real life. Like they are actually starting to like not get jobs at the top level. Like you look at like Mark Hughes, I think is managing in League Two. Deitch, I think not Deitch. Bruce is now managing. Fuck, he's like managing League One or League Two. Yeah, they are starting to like.
Allardyce isn't really anymore.
Allardyce hasn't had a job for like 2 years. They kind of starting to
had a
die.
job for 5 years, you know.
Is it longer than that?
He's been really long, bro. His last job was the England manager job, bro. Since then, bro, he's not.
No. He's taken jobs. He took West Brom, and then he took Leeds.
Yeah, because West Brom was the first time he got relegated.
They beat us 5-2, Ahmed. You remember?
Oh yes, sir. I remember. Leeds.
Oh,
Yeah, but like Leeds was like what 4 or 5 years ago still, no? Because
it was 4 games. It was 4 games.
About 3 years ago, something like that.
It was only like 4 games as well. Like that was crazy.
But yeah, like these, like that's what I'm saying. Like these guys, just like they are starting to die out a little bit, and you're starting to see the younger guys come in. But I'll be honest, my opinion on English managers is very low unless they're going to take the same route and they're going to go the same.
Like Eddie Howe?
I wasn't necessarily going to say Eddie Howe. I was going to say the manager of our sister club.
Liam Rossignol.
Indeed, that's not how you say his name.
What?
It's Rossignol.
Senior. Oh, okay.
But yeah, like with him, it's like, and I think I've seen people say, because apparently he did punditry as well, and he was really well spoken, and he's one of the best pundits people have seen. But like that's unless you're gonna go like his route and play football the way he's playing, I'm just not interested when it comes to English managers.
But that's what I mean. Like there's to an extent, like there's a certain stubbornness and a lack of evolution, I guess I would say, for lack of a better term, with the way these English managers want to play. And you know what I was saying about Steve Bruce, that's just one of many. Like he's not the only one that's come out and said that kind of stuff. And with the way the game is going, it's like, how is a Lampard going to be successful ever? Would a JT be successful ever? What's to say they're not going to do the same thing under their belt? You know, we saw what Lampard did his second stint. It was the same thing he did the first time.
I'll be honest.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest, man. Again, the Lampard thing. Yeah, there's a lot more context to it. I'll be real, bro. You know, again, we were bad. The whole team was bad. Like we can criticize his tactics, but his tactics.
No, I get that. But we're just talking specifically on the tactics, right? Like it's when
what tactics can you give unfit players, bro? What tactics can you give unfit players?
That's what I expressed it, man. Go and express yourself.
Yeah. Like, that's why for me, I feel like we can't really judge Lampard's second term because.
We can.
No, I'm sorry. I have to disagree.
I'm starting to think Ahmed is a Lampard.
No, because like I think the reason why I the best case study for me when it came to Lampard was his first term, because you saw the highs and the lows. Like I thought of his thing in general. I think the second term, the season was basically already given up upon. They had a bunch of players in January. They basically put on some level too, and he'd fucked himself as well at the same time. Yes, right. So by the time he basically came along, bro, we weren't even fighting for anything at that point, bro. And the players according to him were unfit.
He managed a third of a season, by the way. Near as makes no difference. He got one win in the league. He managed 11 games and got 1 win.
I mean, you also got to look at what he was doing at Everton earlier that season too.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So, but for me, if you want to criticize his time at Everton, again, that's correct.
It's not about the time though; it's about the tactics. That's what I'm getting at.
You can criticize tactics at Everton,
yeah,
but at the same time,
no evolution.
But at the same time, bro, it's Everton, bro. How much evolution can you expect from Everton, bro?
Yeah, I'll be realistic. His tactics have never been good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. That's essentially what I'm getting at. Like, you know, Sean Dyche. Say what you want about him. I mean, yeah, he's had the same type of tactics throughout most of his career in terms
I mean, yeah,
of the
but
way he wants to set
it was
up,
just
right?
defensively, and
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
He knew the ability of his team wasn't going to be good.
Exactly.
Really,
It
so
worked
he
really
knew
well
that.
for him at Burnley. You know, that first time around when
Yeah,
Burnley
they
went
to
to
Europe.
Europe.
Relegated.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of, you know, look at something like David Moyes, for example. He's chopped and changed and he's adapted a bit, and like, you know,
He's good at him.
yeah, exactly. And he's doing good with Everton right now. So it's one of those things that, like, you say that about Lampard with the players that he has, but you look at what Sean Dyche was able to do when he came in, and you look at what David Moyes was in,
but
obviously different team.
I would
get it.
argue that though again, David Moyes, Sean Dyche are better managers than Lampard. I don't even think I would disagree with
Yeah,
that.
They are.
Because
But my
for
point
me,
is that when you bring in a different tactic or a different approach,
but those guys
it's-
also have are better managers than him, of course. But they also have
Yeah.
one thing that Lampard doesn't have, which is
yeah,
experience.
that's
though.
true. The man management didn't help him either. Yeah, that's true.
Experience, right? The problem with
Forgot about
Lampard
that.
is, yeah, if you really read into like the articles and stuff, yeah, is that he is a poor conveyor of like his feelings and emotions, yeah, to players. That's what it looks like to me. His man management was the issue more so. Before we get to the tactics, bro, because again,
This is
he's
true.
not speaking to players for months. He's not doing stuff for months, right? So
Yeah,
and they don't know what's going on. They don't know
Yeah.
what's happening, right? Rudiger we saw, Jorginho we saw. So then the issue then becomes when that start of stuff happens, bro. You've isolated players. You know what I mean? You've only got a certain group of players. When you need these guys to play for you again, what are you doing?
Yeah. Speaking of managers and some worrying signs, at least from some portion of the fan base, I can't lie to you. It does worry me a little bit, but I don't know. Training worries. So
Great.
this came out a few days ago. Obviously, people are going to blow up over it and worry about it, I'm sure. Maybe some of us in the panel are. Maybe some of us don't really give a shit because it's training. But let's go ahead and read into what I'm talking about. So, Enzo Maresca canceled a scheduled day off for senior players this week after they were beaten 3-0 by the club's under-21 team in a training exercise. We'll continue on here. Enzo Maresca was left fuming and canceled yesterday's day off for the players after the first Team 11 lost 3-0 in a training match to the under-21s. First team players included Gusto, Badiashile, Tosin, Lavia, Sancho, and Nkunku. Continuing on, The Athletic reported here that the head coach had canceled the day off after they were beaten, exactly what we read. Maresca made the decision after being disappointed by what he had seen during the drill. While it was not a full 90 minutes match between the first team and academy players, the less experienced group came out on top with 19-year-old Donald McNeely getting 2 of the goals. Now, we'll start off with you, Ahmed. What are your thoughts on this scenario? Is it something to worry about, or this is just simply an overblown story?
Okay,
Tom.
so listen, I just think for me, this goes to show. I just think for me, again, the performance levels in the team. You know what I mean? Like, we can listen again. Is it the first time a team's lost to their training team? No, but the problem with Chelsea is that you've got guys that are just connected to the academy, and so when stuff like this happens, they'll get the scoop and they're like, yeah, no. And then, didn't they start straight away as well, right? And everything like that. So I think for me, I feel like we're being I feel like at times, yes, it can be overblown, but I just, at the same time, if I'm just thinking about it from an Ahmed perspective, again, what does this show us, boys? Yeah. Know that, again, this performance hangover thing that we were hoping for within the international break period, that could have been, removed and ducked. It's not going so well so far. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, a lot of those guys are probably going to be starting against Spurs that were allegedly playing.
I heard like
Sancho
obviously
is starting for us. Sancho is starting for us for sure.
Do you think?
Sancho,
It was-
Madueke's not even ready, bro. He only came back to
By the way,
I think Cole Palmer might go back into it. To be honest, might get thrown into it.
Yeah, but listen.
By the way, I'll say
Regardless
this now. I'll say this
Neto.
now. It was entirely first team players who played on that.
Yes.
The team that lost.
Yeah, but who was the first team? I know it was like
Again,
I don't care.
That was a list.
It
Chris,
was
wait, Chris, I'm gonna go through it with you. I'm gonna go.
It was
Yeah.
entirely first team players.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that the point I'm just trying to bring about here.
Dewsbury,
Listen.
I think as
Wait, Chris. Yeah. So apparently Jackson did not play this game, from what I know. Apparently he wasn't fit enough or something like that for this game. Yeah. So I'm not gonna include him. But Sancho, a guy that's probably gonna start for us because Southampton is playing. Yeah. And Neto, what's it called? It's probably gonna be playing for us. Neto wasn't that actually. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, I thought you wouldn't.
He's in
Yeah,
international
Brazil.
team.
Sorry, Portugal, mate.
He was at Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm.
And then, but he played
No
this
midfield
game,
though.
right? The midfield, Lavia was playing, bro.
Lavia.
Yeah, Lavia
Yeah.
was playing. Yeah.
Yeah, so a guy that probably is going to be a regular start for us.
I
He
would
played in the
say
game.
Lavia is
But,
come back from injury.
You know,
though, but,
but
maybe
then
it's
you know Sanchez is in goal. I mean, I don't know what we expected. He's even going to let goals against that.
who was their keeper though, Armand? Who was their keeper? Because he might be better than Sanchez.
Yeah, but
Like,
he's never
I
going to
was
start,
thinking
Chris. So what's the
of
point? So he's never
He
going
kept
to.
the clean sheet.
I
Probably
will
was
say though,
Bergstrom.
does anyone think that this is just one of those situations where the players didn't care on training?
No, but I don't care.
It's still like you shouldn't still lose 3-0 like that. Even if you
No,
didn't
but
care, losing 3-0.
can you
is
bring up
crazy.
Kulle's comment quickly, Marshall? Yeah, the problem
Which
with
one? Oh,
Kulle's comment just above Surface then. The problem with this, yeah, and I know what Surface saying a similar thing about you just practice and everything like that. The problem is the manager would not be getting angry and doing another session the next day if it was just practice. You know what I mean? Like I get that. You know, I get. Listen, in the NBA terms, that's fair enough, right? But if the man is saying I need you guys no day off for you, you coming in tomorrow, bro. He's clearly worried about something, bro, that was being shown in that performance.
Yeah.
right.
Also, it
real
wouldn't be
Go
reported
ahead,
because that's the bare minimum that should be happening. Like that's why when
Yes.
Chris said, "Oh, it's like who was playing," it doesn't matter. Like you could be playing Dewsbury Hall and like
Yeah.
Adia Shill played and Tosin played. Like we could have played Bergstrom or Bettinelli in goal. Like ultimately, like this was as well. Like I said, this was a youth team that had the guy who scored the third goal was 16. They had under 16 players playing.
Mm.
So like
I
it's
just
not
gotta-
something I'm gonna throw. It's not something I'm gonna throw my toys out the pram for, but it's like it's just a little bit embarrassing. And it's like I think ultimately it shows I don't know whether to say the level or like the commitment is maybe the better word of like for some of these players. And it's some of these players we already knew. Like and like yeah, I think it just shows ultimately that this quote unquote depth that we've had since the start of the season has been greatly misjudged by a lot of people, including myself. And so, yes, I just think it's one of those things, and I just think it shows that it needs to be addressed in the summer. Whether it will or not remains to be seen.
Listen, you know, again, I can agree with everything of what Saf is saying. Yes, it's practice. I agree with all of that. But for me, why is the manager then calling practice for the next day then?
Because they were
I do
shit.
need to point out something though, guys.
But for me, yeah, it's all well and good. We can say it's practice. I agree with that. Practice, you're never gonna go fully 100%. That's just the
I think
unless your manager, unless your manager's like really, unless your manager's like a really strict guidance that you have to go all out like we were doing on the pitch. Then for the average manager, no, right? But when the manager's calling you in straight away for the next day to be training, why is he doing that? That's what you have to ask yourself. That's all I would say to that.
The thing is, though, that Maresca doing that's all well and good, but I need to see action. And we didn't need this game to show that some of the players that were on that list, on that starting 11 for the senior team, are not good enough. Forget a youth game. You know, just look at some of the performances we've seen in the cups, some of the performances we've seen in the Premier League. It's just not good enough. And like, you can cancel as many days off as you want. You need to start dropping people.
For who though?
He has
We
dropped
haven't had
though.
people fit.
Oh, okay. So let's look at this. So this team lost to a youth team that Tyreek George graduated from into our 1st team. So presumably he is better than most, if not all, of those players that would have been eligible to play this game. The only reason Tyreek George wouldn't have played is because he's away at under 21s England, I think, or whatever. But regardless, Tyreek George came from that, and he's supposed to be better than all of those guys. Yet we have players like Nkunku, who is supposedly a top class player, and he can't impact a game against under 16s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No, but
and again, Marshall,
checked out. Yeah.
But again, Marshall. So why is he playing?
Who else is going to play?
Tyreek George.
Like George.
You just said he's in under 21s. I'm
No.
talking about the training.
No. I mean in the first team in competitive games in the Premier League, in the Europa Conference League, in the Club World Cup.
I mean, he ain't gonna get that chance at Tottenham. He might get subbed on, but like, I would have him in Neto at the point.
Bring up Vic's comment, yeah. Can you bring up Vic's comment? Like, I just think, guys, like, listen, there's no, for me, listen, for me, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens on Thursday.
Yeah.
But, you know, I hope we usually win against Spurs, so that's not, I'm not going to be like over dramatic about that, right?
Yeah, and we're home as well.
Right, we usually do our job there. So, like, you know, unless something crazy happens, you know.
I mean, something crazy did happen last time. We literally let him have 2 goals. Like,
yeah. So listen, we have been known for charity.
We still won. Like we were terrible.
That's why I'm not worried. That's why I'm not necessarily worried about Spurs. Unless like
Spurs are actually shit this season too. Like they're not even good.
But yeah, they're shit, and we're moving.
We're not great, but we're top 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Tottenham.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to necessarily. I'm not saying we're not going to lose against Spurs. We're not going to lose against Spurs. More than likely, there's still the 1% chance.
What I will say though is that Ahmed, you're lucky. I was trying to catch you on Fraud Watch. Because if you had emphasized how important this was, I would have whipped back at you with all the shit you used to say about Conference League, how the players don't care.
Poor choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the problem I had, I know what you were going to say, Marshall, but like, the problem listen,
the
thing about Conference League, yeah, my point stands about that. I think the problem with the practice situation is that, you know, they lost 3-0, bro. That's the problem, bro. And the thing is, they should be beating them at 60%.
But you said before, these players probably didn't try that much.
Yeah, they should be playing at 60%. Listen, they can be playing at 60%. They should be beating the other team comfortably, bro. So the problem for me is that, you know, when that happens, you know, when teams are beating you when you're at 60%, yeah, and you're being nonchalant, it kind of goes into games. This nonchalantness here that we're seeing is a big issue in the team, because like I feel like a lot of the time, bro, we feel like a bit more casual, laissez-faire, right?
Yeah,
that's the sort of thing that I do think worries me, because it's like, are we being this laissez-faire in training? You know, what's gonna happen on the pitch? Oh, we can't. You know, this is not a switch on and off. You know, I can't be serious, yeah, not be serious in practice, yeah, and then be serious in thinking.
No,
it's hard to
I get that.
On a consistent basis, yeah.
I do get that. I mean, obviously, sir, I agree with Surfer. I think this is, in one sense, making a mountain out of a molehill. It's international break. Reporters are going to come out with whatever they can to get.
The thing was, even a report that came out of this, by the way.
What happened?
It actually came out. No, it came out before the Athletic. It came out.
They reported on it.
It came out. No, it came out of some. It came out. It comes out from like It's like an academy. It's like an academy one, like called a Chelsea Sport. Right? It came out.
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
But regardless, like I look at when you really like deep it. You look at the players that were mentioned, right? These are players that already are somewhat out of contention with Chelsea.
No, some of them aren't.
Jadon Sancho, I would say, is relatively out of contention.
Lavia isn't.
Tosin isn't. Yeah,
that's why. Like, that's why I said for me, I hope, like, regardless of what happens afterwards, I think they're lucky in a sense of like we have got Tottenham next, and like we've all said, we should be beating them regardless. Tottenham. It'll be interesting to see then what happens against Brentford, which is a game I think we'll lose. But I think ultimately where I stand on this is like, the players that were involved, most of the players that were involved, at least ones that were mentioned, like Tosin, Badiashile, and Nkunku, Sancho, Lavia, some of these guys, like hopefully some of these guys just aren't here next season. Ultimately, that's where I stand. It's just the end of the day, a lot of these guys, like damn near everyone I mentioned there, outside of Lavia on an ability standpoint, but potentially on an injury standpoint, need to be gone. Like on Nkunku, Sancho is the only maybe one, and it's just because of the whole "can you get someone better" argument for 25 mil and whatever the plan is, and this, that, and the other. Tosin should be gone. Badiashile should be gone. KDHV play should be gone. I'm trying to think who else might have played in that game. But yeah,
Sanchez would have played because Jorgensen was out on Danish.
Oh yeah, Sanchez gone. Like that's ultimately where I stand. Is some of these players they're not all going to go because it's impossible to get rid of that many players in one window and then replace all of them. But
a significant portion of them will.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens on Thursday. Obviously, that's the biggest tell sign, and I'm assuming we're going to have a good amount of players back from international break and injury that will make a significant difference to the team. Let's actually move on to some other things regarding Chelsea as well, and it's kind of like a little bit of an update as to where we stand with Clear Lake. We're not where we stand with Clear, but where Clear Lake currently are, doing at Chelsea. So first things first is Earl's Court. We did mention this already. A little bit of an update. It is understood Chelsea have held talks in recent months with various figures who have a say over the future of Earl's Court's site. So movement looks like is happening for the Earl's Court site and some stadium redevelopment. But then we continue here. So Liam Toomey and The Athletic reported a few things in regards to Clear Lake. And following here, it says, it's quite hard to know exactly what we're writing about because the way Chelsea are trying to operate is unlike any other club who has ever tried to operate. Investing this much in players this young hasn't been done at this scale before. It's Clear Lake Capital running the club right now, and Todd Bowley is very much on the side, and the situation is not resolved. But Clear Lake believe the plan is working in terms of the big picture. They believe things are moving in the right direction. The ambitions of the people running Chelsea are huge. They've marketed this to the players who have agreed to join as the most ambitious football project in the world. They want to be a world-class team that competes for the Premier League and Champions League every year, and one that is in that inner circle of contenders. I've said before, there was a downturn in standards, just generally speaking, under the old regime anyway. I can imagine the outcry of people listening and going, how can you say that we won the Champions League? Which happens all the time. It's seen as an understandable, magnificent achievement, and rightly so. But Chelsea had gone their longest run without winning the title under Abramovich before he left. So there were signs of a downturn. Chelsea want to be at the top of the table, not dining at the kids' table and feeding off the scraps. I will say no one can accuse the owners of lacking ambition. That is one thing I will defend them on. Simon Johnson says. And lastly here, when you think about the amount of money spent, we are in the season 3, and yes, they can point to being fourth as we speak, but it's very unconvincing fourth in one of the worst Premier League seasons in terms of the top 4 race. A few things said, a few opinion pieces there. Overall, where I kind of stand with what is being said, yes, it's a whole lot of PR, exactly. And I would say, sure. I mean, when you look at the money being spent and being put into the club and invested into the club, sure, it's ambitious. I do think to an extent, what I would have seen more ambition out of the club if you had gotten some signings in there that would have been for this season. There was a point where we were talking about being in a title race and the club didn't do anything to supplement that conversation. Instead, they were okay with, we could be in a title race, but we'll settle for 4th or 5th, just get us UCL, which is what we're doing right now, rather than, really pushing ourselves for a title race. And a few other things in that regard too, in terms of like the manager you picked and so on and so forth. Not to say Maresca's been a horrible pick, but he has definitely sparked a lot of conversations and questions. So I will go to Scott on this. I mean, what do you think about the whole PR spiel? Do you agree that that they're being ambitious?
No.
Nice.
Like none of what they've done so far, and it shows that they're being ambitious. Outside of the money
put
they've
into
spent,
it. Yeah.
outside of the money, but like Manchester United have shown over the years, like they have spent. I think their squad at one point they'd spent the most money on their squad in the league, and like it's the Glazers. We know what their ambition is. So you don't have to just spend money to be ambitious, and we've seen this. And I think it's gotten past that point with me because I used to like say, "Oh, they obviously want to win," and like part of me thinks they do to an extent, because I still don't believe you put this much money in just to end up being mediocre. But at the same time, it's like Liam Toomey said, this has never been done the way no team in world football, no top team, I should say, has ever built this team this way.
Yeah.
And been successful. No team has built a team like this and been successful. So, like, I don't know. Like the way they're going about it is asinine. It's they've taken something that could have been good and are just butchering it at every turn. I think the comments as well from, I think it was Simon Johnson, about like the how it was under Abramovich. Like, I think people try and like, and I don't even think like, actually Simon Johnson might be doing this. I don't know what the rest of the article said, so I don't really care. But like, those two things can be mutually exclusive. Like, for example, right? Like, yes, there was a downturn, or we weren't as good under Roman at the end as we had been in previous years. 100%. We'd gone the longest we'd gone without winning a league title. That is stark difference to what is going on now. Like, it's like, for example, it's like a chef going from a Michelin star restaurant to working for a perfectly fine establishment, but he's not quite the Michelin star. And then a couple of years later, he's working at McDonald's. Like that, yes, you might not be in the Michelin star restaurant to begin with, but it's a damn sight better than working in fucking McDonald's. Like, that's the reality of it. It's like, yes, it wasn't as good, and there were issues. We were still finishing fourth regularly. We were still in the Champions League. If we weren't winning the Europa League and we were winning it, we were still performing to a decent level in the league. This has been just not good enough. Like, and I've finally got to the point with it all where I'm just getting sick of it, especially with the kids stuff.
Yeah,
like, it just, especially with the news. Well, it wasn't news, but from stuff that I've heard this week from others about the financial peril we could be in with not getting Champions League. Them spending 100 mil on fucking kids every month isn't doing anything for us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys already know where I stand on that. I think it's a business move, right? And it's not going to stop until potentially, because it might not even stop after this. It's not going to stop until we get the new stadium. That's just genuinely how I feel about the whole buying and selling of these.
No, it will still continue on.
I don't think a stadium will change the fact like they want to win trophies, like ambition wise. But I'm sure they want to win trophies. It's just they want to like invest a lot of their money in profit, like of players, the young players, of course. See which one can.
My problem with all of this,
well. Like I was gonna say, you hear of Santos as well. Like we hit with Santos by the looks of it, but there's rumors of selling them already. That just shows there's no ambition to make Chelsea stronger. That just shows ambition to make profit, in a sense of that.
What are you gonna say, Ahmed?
Go on.
No, I think this is the problem that you've got now, and I've said this multiple times already. It's a simple problem that you need to, what's it called? Your future has got to be secured. You know your issues you've got in the summer, yeah, and yet you're doing nothing to secure that future, bro. That's my issue. But that's why I've always come back to again. If you're in short-term peril that you know that's coming up, yeah, and you're still focusing on the long-term problem, long-term issues, bro, then don't cry to me when you can't sell a bunch of these players in the summer. Don't complain when you can't do stuff that you want to do. That's the one thing that I... Go ahead, Scott, man.
I was going to say, I need to go back to this financial thing. Basically, so... To those that don't know, Lewis has a source. I don't know who it is. I don't know where it's from, but he has a source inside the club. We got told 2 days ago, I think it was, that if we don't make Champions League, we are financially fucked.
I heard that.
Effectually, we are financially fucked. Can someone explain to me then why for the second summit in a row, we have 12 plus players we need to sell?
top plus players you need to sell.
Some of them, by the way, some of them are the same fucking players we didn't sell the previous summer.
Yeah.
And so what have they done to rectify that? They went and bought Quenda for 40 million that we're not going to see for a year. They bought a 16-year-old left back for like 11 mil. They bought a £4 million 16-year-old from Kazakhstan. They're apparently trying to buy some other 16-year-old from Brazil for like 10 mil. They bought a Sugo for 22 mil.
Yeah.
When we had Leslie there.
But then you're thinking, where's the money going for like the main players, like a striker, another keeper, and maybe another centre back, like, you know, who's like above 20? Let's say that.
Well, we discussed this in the last stream, didn't we? You know, the word is we have to sell to buy now.
You know, I know that. Like, we definitely are going to sell, but are they going to sell and buy youngsters or sell and buy actual more experience? That's why.
What do you think, Chris?
I think.
What is history showing us right now, bro?
History
Put the Liam's lap in the bag, man. Come on, you know.
It's going to be a long ride. That's what history's shown me.
Well, then you have your answer, then, don't you?
Yeah. It's just, you know. It's
my problem is, you know, I get Marshall because, like, me and Marshall spoke, yeah, and he said they're buying these young guys because of return on investment, which is correct. But how can you expect a return on investment when you're not even going to make, when you're not meeting the short-term goal that you have to meet, that you are saying you have to meet? That's literal, by the way, yeah. The reason why UCL is so important is not just about us playing in UCL football, by the way. The front of shirt sponsor,
yeah,
deal, according to them, is on the line for that. The Jordan deal for a fourth kit that they can make extra money on is on the line for that, according to them, right? Multiple deals that they can probably make here to get higher money and revenue on, bro. Yeah, is tied to making way for Champions League football. But yeah, we're still thinking about a guy that's coming in 2027. It's coming in 2027, bro. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing, Marshall? No, sorry, bro. It's like, I don't want to say it to you. But like,
listen, I'm hesitant to say anything because I'm gonna just sound like a broken record. Like, I've established in my head and in my meta that they just essentially want to replicate what's going on with Santos over and over and over again. Rather than, well, yeah, there is a way to do that, but listen, I'm not trying to defend Bowley or Clear Lake and all this, right? I agree with you guys, and you guys know my take. I think there's a way you could have done what you're doing right now whilst also bolstering the first team. To an extent, the first window that these directors had in January, that was the window where I was like, okay, if every window was somewhat like this without being extravagant in the amount you spend, I think that'd be okay, because it was a good mix of, okay, youngsters, Andre Santos, Cassidy, so on and so forth, and then players for the now, like Abadia Chile, Enzo Fernandez, so on and so forth. Now, I think they don't want to spend extravagant amounts of money for the now, like players like Enzo Fernandez or Moises again. So what they're doing is, unless it's a striker, I think part of me does think that they are going to be a lot more flexible to break the bank a bit for the striker situation. But once that is done, we're not going to see them break the bank for a striker anymore. It's going to be youngsters that will take the mantle of said striker.
But no one's asking them to, sorry, Scott, just quickly, yeah. No one is asking them to break the bank, though. I'm not saying... No, listen, I'm not saying that you have to break the bank for some of these players that we need, bro. Some of these players, bro, they don't just cost what? 40, 50. That's the standard rate, bro.
Well,
if you can't,
it depends,
60 divided by 5, bro, is how much, bro? That's, if I'm not mistaken, 12 million.
It does depend, though, because like what we're talking, like one of the prominent positions that we're discussing is a striker position, right? We know that 2 years ago, Osimhen was valued over 100 euros. We know
he's
this.
He's not valued that anymore.
He's not valued that anymore. That's the key word. But he was back then. We needed a striker back then, but he was overvalued at the time. Now in the summer, let's see what they do. Maybe they go for him because now the value is dropped. Maybe they don't. Then you have other striker targets like
Chris.
I personally am. I'm not trying to be disillusioned by Gyökeres. I'll be so honest with you. I'm very careful with that one. That one seems very risky to me. But sure, Gyökeres. How much is Gyökeres going for?
65.
65.
65, 70, something like that.
It's not.
That could be something that is within reasonable.
But
that they could
that's
spend
where our
money on.
scouting department, like, does he actually fit Chelsea? Does the manager like him as well? Maybe does the manager want him? Or like
The numbers are
there's two good
impressive, but
strikers
the
out
league
there, I
he's
think.
playing in is not.
I know, but like sometimes you take that risk on him. Like 65 million, I think it's like worth it maybe because he does it in Champions League as well. He scored like what was it, 3-4 goals against Man City as well. Is that
And
the
the other thing too, and you guys tell me your opinion on this, right? Like when you did have this ownership spend big money on players, where are those players now? The only one that's you can really say was worth it was Cucurella. When you look at Koulibaly,
we
you
can't
spend
bring
money on
this argument.
Koulibaly.
We can't
Caicedo.
bring this argument.
Yeah.
We can't bring that argument up here because in my
Oh yeah,
personal opinion,
Caicedo,
because the
yeah,
vast
yeah.
majority of those big
That's
money
true.
signings
But the
were
experienced
made.
ones is what I was referring to.
The
Yeah.
Boo's big money signings, Marshall, were made directorless, bro. The vast majority of them, barring Enzo and Caicedo, which were big money signings, the rest of them were made during an era where there was no sporting director, Marshall. So
Well, I think the thing is as well, like most of the big money signings are the ones performing in our team currently. Like you look at Enzo, like you look at Caicedo, you look at Cucurella. Like that's because you pay, like that's what you pay for. And like at the end of the day, my thing is not the money they spend, by the way, on the striker, because I think they do spend money on a striker. My issue is who they get. Like I have this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that we end up with Sesko at the end of the window.
Oh my god.
I hope that's not the case.
But
I
that's what
don't
I'm
mind
saying.
the delay.
I don't think they go for Osimhen. I don't think they go for Gyökeres.
If you want a cheap option and it's not even going to be cost you
I
anything,
think they go for
David
Liam.
Jonathan.
Or Jonathan David, yeah.
Jonathan David,
No,
yes.
I don't
That
think
was
they
not
go
enough
for-
to put
No,
us
that
over the
would be
edge.
a great signing, but I don't think they'll do that either.
It would
They
be a good
genuinely are
signing.
going for. Listen, we know who they're going for. Let's not beat around the
Liam.
bush.
What?
It's Liam
The
Delap,
lap.
bro.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
We
either
know-
the Lampard or Sesko or something like that. Like,
Yeah, like we know
like,
that's already
yeah.
happening.
I don't mind it, but yeah.
no, I hate
No,
it.
not moved.
No, because
the
I don't
problem
think he's
is
made difference
because
to
you know,
that.
again, this goes back to another issue I've said, Marshall. Yeah, we keep on thinking long term when you've got much more bigger issues in the short term that we have to worry
But the
about.
thing is,
The lap
things,
is another 2 year.
but-
The lap's another 2 year project, Marshall.
But hold on. But here's the thing, though. Like, the things that you're thinking about for the solutions right now, they already figured it out 2 years ago, and it's coming to fruition this summer. Goalkeeper
talking-
situation.
What do you mean?
The
What do you mean?
goalkeeper situation, for example. If they do the right thing, Petrovic comes into the team next season. That solves our goalkeeper
if.
The fact that that's
situation.
an if, though. The fact that that's
Yeah,
an if.
I know it's an if. I know it's an if. We've already established that
They
there's a
were
lot of
willing
things.
to sell
We've already
Petrovic.
established that there's a lot of things that
I
are
was
going
gonna
to be
say- I was
answered
gonna
in the
say, like,
summer.
No. They don't get grace on the goalkeeper situation because this is a guy who they brought in to be backup
Mhm.
for all of about 12 million or 40 million, whatever they paid the New England Revolution for. There were reports of us trying to sell him to Genoa and Nantes, I think it was in the summer.
Yeah, in the
because he
summer,
wasn't
literally
wanted.
trying to sell
In the
him.
summer,
If it hadn't
before
been
the
for the
season
fact-
he's had.
If it had not been for the fact that Liam Rosenior has done wonders with him, no, we would still be looking to sell him. We still might sell him anyway because we have no idea if
Yeah, we might.
what's his face Maresca even wants to keep
If
him.
we sell him over
By
Sanchez.
the way,
Mhm.
like they don't get on the goalkeeper. The most they've done to like fortify the goalkeeper position is sign an 18-year-old who they think could be one for the future,
Mhm.
who
But the thing is-
only played like 12 games this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think that when it comes to this situation, and like I said in the beginning, before chat starts to lose their mind and misunderstand everything I'm fucking saying as usual, is I agree. I'm not a fan of how things in recruitment have gone. I'm not a fan of not recruiting for the now and only strictly recruiting for the future. But one thing that has accomplished is that next summer it'll be a big like observation is that the next summer when we get a bunch of these players that we got 2 years ago, a year ago, are now available to play, we'll see how the team looks, how the squad was built, and then I would expect that some of us on here will give praise where praise is due and criticize where criticism is due. Because sometimes it feels like it's just criticism. But then you look at Santos, for example.
Okay, but Marshall, other than again, Petrovic, right? And I'm gonna give you grace on him. Petrovic and Santos, bro. Who's coming back next season that's gonna redo himself for us?
Let's see what happens with. There's a few players we can name. Let's see what happens with Esteval. Let's see if this guy is going to. Hold on.
No,
Let me
finish.
land.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
Okay.
anything. I'm letting you finish.
Let's see what happens with Esteval. If the player is ready to just step up, if he's really the wonder kid that we think he is, right? Let's see what happens with Dario Sugo. I know he wasn't like in the loan system and all that, but let's see if he comes into the team and makes a significant difference. Let's see what happens in Paez. Paez has been under our belt for some time now. Let's see what he is, what he's got, what he's made of. We just recruited this. We just recruited this Sar kid, right? Who right now is doing wonders at Strasbourg. Let's see what happens with him in the summer. Let's see what happens with Anselmino, Caleb Wiley. There's a lot. Listen, you can tell me to stop and say all this, but at the end of the day,
Let's go listen.
if
Anselmino, you know.
at the end of the day, if we bookmark this video, this very moment, an hour 30 into the stream, right? And we look 6 months from now in January and things are looking up and up, don't come telling me anything about how I was deluded and all this bullshit. I'm just giving you what could potentially happen, hypotheticals. If you don't like hypotheticals, then what the fuck are you doing listening to me then?
Okay,
This is
so,
the thing. None of
okay.
us here on the channel,
Okay, I
none
have
of us
to-
know exactly what the hell is going on with the club. I don't know what's going on with the club. I don't know what the direction is or what their goal is.
We
But
don't know
I'm
what's
looking
going on
at
with the
the
club.
information. I'm looking at the information that is being given in front of me, right? I understand it's not going to be for immediate results right now, which I don't like. But at the end of the day, you look at what they're doing. I try to put together the pieces and let's see where it goes. Because let's be honest, guys, since they've taken over the club and they ripped everything out and got rid of all the players that were the players that established us and got us, bare minimum top 4 and all that stuff. We went from 12th to 6th and now we're currently fighting for UCL. In their eyes, that is progress. In their eyes, that is it going in the right direction. And you can't say that's not.
Okay, let's actually target this argument. You said we don't know what's happening at the club. Oh, wait, what do you mean? They've told us outright what's happening at the club, bro. Why are you acting like we don't know what's happening at the club, Marshall? They have literally told us they are here to apparently do this more they're trying to do and trying to apparently go for trophy stuff, right?
I technically am in
bro.
sales, Vic, yes.
Right. And then listen, the thing is, yeah, we know they've got a 10-year period, right? This is something I've said before. It's a 10-year period they've got at the club, yeah, before they can do any selling, anything like that. We are currently about to hit year 4, Marshall, and we are again. I said this to you before. We just if they get UCL, bro, we are almost back to where we were, just barring the fact you've just got some other wonder kids coming in. So we've done a full circle, bro. So what?
No, Vic, it's not that I don't believe what I'm saying. It's that I don't believe in anything right now. I'm just giving you what could potentially happen. And let's see where it goes. Because as far as I'm aware, wait, hold on real quick, Scott, before you go. As far as I'm aware, when I look at the past and where we are now and how we've come from that to this, I'm just thinking, okay, they're making strides in some shape or form. And we remember that the first thing they said, and something that we've wanted this whole entire time under Roman, was we want stability, we want a project, and we want long-term success, like how Man City were built, right? That doesn't happen overnight. I understand that we were going to have multiple seasons and multiple things that I don't understand how it's going on. I still to this day, and I agree with you, Scott, I still to this day don't understand what's the point of all these players. Are you going to actually develop them? Why are you selling them to break even or make like £1 million profit? Like that doesn't make sense to me, right? But when you look at the progression of the team itself since they ripped it apart, right? Ripped it apart, start from zero, from scratch. 12th place was when they started from scratch. They've made progress. Now, next season, I expect to be challenged. If we're making progress, I expect next season to be challenging for the league. How we go about doing it, let's see how they do it. But I'm not going to just sit here and react and say, it's done, it's over. If we were in 12th place the last 3 seasons, then I would say, yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But they're clearly doing something in the right direction.
As it is currently compiled, do you think they have the squad to challenge for the league?
That is hard to answer because I just need to see what these players that we've developed, the players that we've loaned out and recruited, what they're going to do in the summer.
Let's go through these players. Cool, let's go through these players. Esteval, fair enough. Santos, fair enough. Petrovic, the jury is still out because he should be playing. We don't know.
I don't even know if Esteval is going to kick off.
That's
I'll be honest with you.
Cool.
You know?
So cool. The only one we know of then is Santos. Fantastic. That makes it even worse. So Esteval's a complete unknown because he's 18 coming to a completely new league. We don't know.
Yeah.
Petrovic, we don't know if he's going to play. Sarr, we signed off after 6 months of football. This is Ahmed, correct me if I'm wrong. This is his first professional season?
Yep.
Cool. First professional season. He's not playing for us next season. Shouldn't be playing for us next season. Shouldn't be playing regular minutes for a team that wants to challenge for a league title. You mentioned Anselmino, who's currently in the under-21s.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Caleb Wiley, who's played all of 5 games since he's gone on loan to Watford, who won't play in this team because he can't invert, because he's not really a left-back. Who else did you mention that's out on loan? Leslie was selling. Sugo, who's 5th choice midfielder, as things stand.
Okay, hold on. Moises Caicedo isn't world class. Have we not had discussions over multiple times this season? Like early in the season, we were talking about how Cole Palmer is one of the best players in the world. Did we not?
I would
So what are we
also say,
doing?
like,
This is what I mean. Like, this is what annoys me. Like, I try to come at this in a very rational way. I've already stated, like, I don't agree with how things have been done. I'm not a fan of where we are in terms of, like, how we're recruiting and how it's all set up. Yet, all you guys hear is me say positivity, positivity, positivity. Okay, cool. Then if this is stop selling dreams, you're not being honest. Okay, so do you want me to just tell you we're going to fail? We're going to be in a downward spiral. We're going to be relegated and we're never going to succeed? Like, is that what you want me to say? How do I know that? Just like, how do I know if we're going to succeed or not? How do I know we're going to fail? Because as far as I'm aware, I look at where Strasbourg were under the same ownership and they're looking like they're going to have their best season in ages. Ages.
How much money did Strasbourg get put into? How many plays did they actually get for Strasbourg? Yeah, if
Still
you actually
a lot.
research, no.
It's not even about the money.
It's not even about the money, but the plays they recruit. They have multiple plays in each position of quality.
Yeah, a couple of Chelsea loans.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's not just about quality. Listen, I'm not even talking about the Chelsea loans. If you just take out the Chelsea loans, bro, they have a bunch of good quality players up and coming who are definitely good for that league, if not could become even better, right? In a league which is for guys that are young guys that need to develop, right? If you're not, as long as you're not PSG, you can compete quite well in that league. And they did a good job.
I don't need to pick a fucking side. I just rather analyze the things how they're going. I don't think it's going in one direction or another. Why? Because I'm not a fucking fortune teller. I can't tell you if we're going to be successful, and I'm not going to tell you if we're going to be failing, because it's based off, like I said, based off of the stats, the actual facts in front of me. From the time that they've taken over to the time now, they have been going in the right direction. We have gone upwards from 12th to 6th, and now we're currently in 4th.
Marshall, we haven't gone upwards. We started down, significantly down.
You went back.
That's based off of when you look at Chelsea as a whole, not when you look at Chelsea from when they took over. And that's how they look at it.
But they took over a team that went to the semi-finals of the UCL, Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall, you're talking about
that was stripped apart. They stripped it apart in January.
They stripped that team apart.
Yes, because they wanted to start over.
Well,
Cool.
then they went from 4th to 12th. That's the fact. What are you trying to say, Marshall?
No, they started over.
They started over with a team that was 4th, destroyed it apart, and that ended up giving them 12th place.
I mean, are we
Right. No, that's just me being objective there. Okay?
You know, we're talking about like the stripped apart team. Though. Are we mad they took away all this?
No. But I'm just being.
It's not that. But I'm just trying to make you. I'm trying to make Ahmed understand that. Ahmed, I understand that. I understand that. That's how I used to look at it. Ahmed. I understand that. But that's not the actual case. You understand? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I get what you're saying. They're saying
they didn't.
went from
If
12 to 6,
they didn't continue
6 to 4.
Roman's thing, because if they continued Roman's thing, we'd be in 4th still.
Okay, I get what you're trying to say, Marshall. Okay, they're saying going from 12th to 6th, and now it could be possibly finishing 4th, whatever it is, right? But the problem is, okay, that's fine from a league table perspective, But if we look at a developmental perspective, right? Because that's the other thing they look at, right?
Yes, I'm not a fan of it either.
Let's look at that. Let's look at it from a developmental perspective,
Yes.
right? Jackson this season essentially has not changed that much from what he was last time. You could say he's become a bit more, a bit more of a better shooter, but other than that, bro, he has not really changed as a player. Palmer this season is a natural downturn this season compared to what's happened to him the season before, right? Even though, yes, he's still got good numbers, he still had a downturn this season. A guy that I look at, Madueke, he's got better GA, but has he been changed as he was from the last season? We'll live to see another day on that one, right? Caicedo, Enzo is the only one who could probably say he's become better than what he was the last season. Caicedo, he's been as good as he was the latter half of the season, if not better, right? Then I'm not going to Kukurea in this because Kukurea was meant to be this level when we got him. I can't lie to you, so I'm going to give Kukurea the credit there. But if you look at everyone else, Howell, he's just as bad as if not as he was last season, bro. Still making the same old mistakes.
No, he's not as bad as last season, but yeah.
No. Listen, towards in the second half of the season, he has been as bad as that. First half of the season, not so much, but second half of the season, he has been, right? And then you look at Fofana, obviously I'm not going to include him. Sanchez is still consistently being paid, but again, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of these players they've brought in that they've been meant to be developmental. I've said more than 50% of them, bro, have not really developed. Right? So that's the thing they look at too. You agree with me on that, right? They definitely look at that too. And so if I'm looking at it from their eyes, that has not changed that much. So what are we succeeding on that side of the pitch?
The thing is, at the end of the day, they're very stat oriented, right? Fact oriented, all that stuff. What's a stat? Wins, losses, placements in the league, the results. So at the end of the day for me, right, this is the way I see it in one aspect. It could go multiple aspects. It could completely flop. But based off the last 3 seasons, it's going into this direction, I think. Actually, no. This is the direction I think they want to go into. What I'm expecting next season, if this is the trajectory they're going on, the whole project, the Man City thing, next season is a challenging for the league. Then the following season is winning the league, if you haven't already done it next season. And if everything goes like they want it to go, then it's stability at winning the league over and over and over and just becoming the team. That's the ideal
Marshall's
what they
right,
want to do.
I agree with you what you're saying.
And that's why I'm saying I don't know what's going to happen. But if that does happen, then all of this that we're doing right now, all of this that chat is doing and all this, we're going to look really stupid. And I don't like looking stupid.
Okay, listen. I don't care if I'm stupid or not. If my team is winning, that's what matters to me the more than anything. But my problem is, with what you say, Marshall. Okay, that trajectory is true. I know this is something that you've seen, and I agree with it. That's probably what they probably see. They're sat orientated. But then my next question is the lab getting you to compete in the league? Yeah, I'm not going to go. Let's go through.
Okay,
I know,
Marshall,
Scott. Go ahead, Scott. I'll let you finish.
Let's do this, because I understand what you're saying, Marshall. The reason why I think me and Ahmed and others are like we can't see it is because you're right. We don't 100% know, but when it comes to things like this, you go on history. You go back and look at what has happened, and you use that to predict the future. What has happened is, especially when it comes to recruitment and what we're seeing, is pretty mediocre. So let me ask you this question. Let me run you through the team that I've just created in my head and tell me if this is good enough to challenge for a league title. Because this is based on the transfers I think they do in the summer. So, Petrovic in goal. Let's be kind and say it's Petrovic in goal. We've got a back line of it when everyone's fit: James, Fofana, Huson, and Kukurea. A midfield of Caicedo and Enzo, with Palmer'S at 10. You got, let's say, Bino Gittins on the left, Neto on the right, and Delap up front. Is that good enough to challenge for a league title?
I think we could challenge. I just don't think I could see across the line.
With the striker, no, it can't be Delap. It can't be Delap.
And the thing is, against Bino Gittins, I don't think that is.
The thing is though with Delap, and listen, I think that to me is maybe a little bit more. I personally don't know how good Gittins is, and I don't know if Neto maybe is the starting right winger. It might be Nani. It might be Esteval. I just don't know. And I also don't think we're going to need to spend as much money going forward, because I think this summer, for example, outside of the striker, they might resort to the players they've recruited in previous windows to fill those roles.
They have to be good enough.
If they're good enough, yeah, I agree. If they're good enough, then if they're not, you need to spend money. But in terms of, for example, just Liam Delap alone, I actually genuinely do think that this player does fit the system really well. And if, for example, the beginning of the season where we were challenging for the title, right? When Jackson dropped off, if we had someone like Liam Delap to come on and compete and continue that form and continue the type of system and the type of performances that Jackson was doing, I don't think we have this drop off that we have, and we have a completely different conversation.
Based on
now,
what?
Is it based on what he's doing at Ipswich and how he's performing?
Well, I'll tell you what he's doing at Ipswich because I'll tell you what he's doing at Ipswich because I took it upon myself to actually go and watch all of his open play goals this season. And granted, you're not going to have many because he's playing at Ipswich. They are the worst. I think they're the worst creative team in the Premier League. So to some extent, you have to give Liam Delap credit. He has not scored a single-headed goal. And what do we all say? He's not scored a single-headed goal in the Premier League this season. And what do we all say about Pedro Neto? He needs a aerial threat in the box. There is no catalogue for Liam Delap to suggest that he will fill that void.
But even without those headers in the box, were we not having these silly conversations that we're going to challenge for the league early December? So that's kind of where I'm getting at.
But we're seeing, Marshall, we're seeing that when it comes to challenging for the league in this country, you need to
be able to do it for the whole season.
No, it's not even that. You need a striker. Yeah. If you're going to have wingers like we've got, and you're going to play how we are, the way we play, our wingers aren't really contributing that many goals. Not the amount that you can afford to have a striker that only gets you 15 to maybe 20 league goals a season. You need a guaranteed 20 plus, maybe 25 plus goal scorer in the league to win the league title. Yes. My biggest issue with Liam Delap is not even a stylistic fit, is not any of that. It's not the heading. He's playing at Ipswich. The step up from playing Ipswich, where you get relegated, to playing for Chelsea and challenging for league titles is insane.
I mean,
that's nuts.
Yeah, but that didn't really stop Jackson from giving us decent performances coming from.
It's not the same. Jackson was playing for a team that regularly gets Europe in Spain. That's not the same. And also, Jackson, as we've seen, got 14 goals in his first season with us. This season was on 9 or 10, I think.
9.
9, cool. So we have what? How many games left? 9 games left? 10? I don't know how many games we have left.
9 games remaining. 9 games remaining.
9 games remaining, cool. So for him he needs to score in half the games we have left to match his tally from last season. For him to, he can't even reach the tally of what I would expect a striker for a title-winning team to get. Because, like I said, it's 20 plus. He can't, and he would have to score multiple goals in multiple games to reach that.
I don't even know if that's entirely true, though, because, okay, I know we look at Liverpool this season. They don't have a striker. They have a Salah, which in our case...
They have a goal scorer, cool.
They have a goal scorer. In our case, if Palmer were playing at his best, he'd be our version of
there's a big
our
difference. There was a big difference in Salah and Palmer. Salah's been in the Premier League for like 8 years. Yeah,
100%.
We rely on a guy who...
I get that.
I think the other argument I would probably add is the other argument is also look at the defense and then look at the goalkeeper.
I mean, their defense is really good.
And that's, I think, that's what I said earlier this season. I think our biggest issue this season was going to be the defense. I've said it since the beginning of the season. You guys can vouch for me. I've said it. I think our biggest issue is going to be the defense. I think we're going to have games where it's going to be a 1-0, and we need to be able to close that out. And we haven't been able to often, right? Especially in the beginning of the season. So I think with the defense, if we do get a Delap, right? If, we don't get that top goal scorer, I do think next season we can challenge as long as defensively we can remain sound.
Cool.
That's a stretch. It starts with the goalkeeper. But yeah, go ahead.
who we have to hope they pay Petrovic or hope they go
I
and
hope
buy
it's
someone.
Petrovic. Yeah.
It then goes to who's the centre back going to be. If it's Houston, that's not the guy in terms of right now to win league titles, or at least he's not the guy who can come in and be the difference maker to win us a league title. He needs to be the guy next to the guy, if that makes sense. Again, I don't understand like where this like mindset of like we're going to be fine and we're going to just progress is going. I don't get it, because none of the centre backs that they've signed right now are capable of challenging for a league title. None of them. Outside of maybe Fofana at a push.
Yeah.
At a push.
And Fofana's questionable. I don't even know if he's going to stay
And Fofana
here.
can't stay fit for more than like 3 months.
Yeah. But I just want to point out something, right? Like, it's not even so much that I'm putting a positive spin on this, guys. It's just that I'm not trying to be reactive and automatically assume the worst or automatically assume the best. Like, I'm very hesitant to tell you Esteval is going to come here and kick off and we're going to be top goal scoring. I have expectations based on the progress that you're making so far. If you went from 12th and that's your starting point and you're going to 6th and now you're saying 4th, we're going to be in UCL next season. I don't expect UCL to go well, by the way. I'm telling you that right now. I don't expect UCL to go well. I think next season we will struggle to get out of the group stages, right? Based on the recruitment. But also based on the recruitment, I do think we can be a little bit more sustainable next season based on some of the up-and-coming midfielders that we're putting into this team, which was a big issue for us in the early onset of the season and to this point right now. And if you get a Delap, right? The center back issue is another thing, and the goalkeeper issue, which we discussed. I don't even think I'm being positive. I just think I'm being non-reactive. So I'm not trying to say it's going to go all bad. I'm not trying to say it's going to go all good. I just saying, man, this could happen. This could happen. I don't know. We'll see. I think the summer is going to be really, really telling for me. That's where I stand.
I think what I'll say right now in regards to this whole progress argument of 12th to 6th to now 4th.
Yeah.
I need to wait until I just need to wait until the end of the season on that. Like, just based on the makeup of the Premier League right now.
That's also true, yeah.
Aston Villa, I heard somewhere, so this isn't me saying this as gospel, but I'm going to trust wherever I heard this from. Aston Villa are in 9th place, and they're 4 points off the top 4. So a few games go left for us, we could be mid-table. Could be. I'm not saying we will be. I'm saying we could be. That has to be factored into the equation here.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Marshall, I'm looking back, by the way, the last few years with the Premier League. Like, this is just comes back to the argument or the conversation we're having. The winners of the Premier League the last 4 years have either had the top goal scorer or the Golden Glove winner.
Hey, Georgie, you better step the fuck up, bro. Oh, shit, man. Yeah, we're going to have to really fucking see how this goes, man. Because
that includes this year, by the way, when I say that, because Liverpool are winning the league, Salah's winning the Golden Boot. So
yeah. No, Salah's definitely winning the Golden Boot. Yeah.
Including this year. That's 5 years. Oh, no, sorry, 4 years, including this year.
Mm-hmm. I 100% don't disagree with that. I think the striker situation, we definitely need to do something about. Because it can't. If we go another season with just Jackson, then forget every single fucking thing I said. Forget it, because I just don't think it's enough.
I mean, it's all well and good saying no to. It's all well and good saying no to this no Jackson. If you're no Jackson, I'll be honest, man. Some of the wingers we're going into this team with, bro, it's not good either.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Some of the defenders we're going into this team with, not good either, bro. So again, my issue just becomes, we're going back to something I don't like to talk about, which is rebuilding the rebuild.
I don't even know if it's rebuilding the rebuild, though.
But Marshall, how many? When we said this before, you need a new goalkeeper. You probably need 1 or 2 new centre backs because you're losing that one. So that's 3 players you need. You probably need another backup left back because Vega's never going to play for you again in that position, right? So that's number 4 we're talking about in terms of position.
But when you're saying rebuilding the rebuilder, you're referring to the spine, right? Rebuilding the spine.
I'm just rebuilding the whole squad because that's what
we need depth as
I
well.
don't
We
think
need
we're
depth as
rebuilding
we've
the
seen.
whole spine, though. Because
Bro,
the
We
way I
need the
see
spine
it
and
is
the
that
depth.
No, Marshall. I think we're rebuilding most of it. Like this, the spine of this team is the goalkeeper, the centre backs, the midfield, and I include the 10, and then the striker. Of those 5 positions, we need 3 of them.
No, I agree on.
The goalkeeper is very dependent on Maresca and what happens in the summer. The others, like we need a striker and we need a centre back guaranteed, and a top level one at both of those positions. The goalkeeper depends, and then we don't need the midfield because we've already bought 16 midfielders. So of course we've got at least 2 that are competent.
But like that's where I'm kind of getting at, right? Like, and we've said this too. When it comes to this club, it seems like they were freaking obsessed with building that midfield. The midfield for me is done. Like we have midfielders for the future. We have midfielders right now that are for the now, right? Caicedo, all that stuff. We'll see what happens with Lavia if he can stay fit. And there's actually a portion of Lavia I want to discuss next. But in terms of, the attack situation, rebuild. When you say rebuild, I'm thinking like get rid of what's there now and put in new players again.
I can't lie. Sorry to interrupt, Marshall. I think the attack is going through a rebuild again. Like, think about it. We're getting a new striker. We're getting at least 1 new winger, potentially 2. We've already signed 1, but he's not coming into 2026. We are getting another new winger in terms of Esteval coming in. At least 1 midfield. No, at least I would say 2 wingers are gone. Because Mudrik's guaranteed gone, and I think one of Sancho or Noni, or potentially both, will not be here come the start of next season. So you're looking at potentially, I don't think he was going to be here to start next season as well. I think he's gone on loan. So you're talking about potentially 3 or 4 new players coming into this attack over the summer.
I think it's just trying to compete and improve on what we have. That's the way I see it. I don't know if that counts as a rebuild.
No, but it's not like you don't, like, for example, right? Like, let's use, I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's use Liverpool, for example, right? Actually, no, let's use City because they're the easier example.
I was going to say City's the one that definitely
they're the easier one I can use. Like, in the summer, they bought 1 attacker. In the winter, they bought 1 attacker. Last year, they bought Doku. That was it.
Savinho, right? Savinho's in there.
No, Savinho came this summer. I'm talking last year.
Okay.
They bought Doku. Yeah. Like, they're not, like, yes, you can rebuild, like, you can get better on what's there or attempt to, right? It doesn't always work. That's why I said City isn't the best example at the moment, right? But you don't do, like I just said,
Savinho,
Esteval coming in, new striker, at least 1 new winger, that's 3. If we get another winger, that's 4. Like, that's 3 or 4 players in 1 window potentially coming in the attack. That's ignore everything else. Ignore every other player that's coming in. I'm talking about just the attack. Bro, I'm talking like if you're needing to improve on what's there, you sign 1 or 2 players in that position. You sign, okay, maybe we need to upgrade on one of the wingers. Then you go, okay, is there the opportunity to maybe upgrade on the striker, perhaps, or like the backup striker? Like, that's the problem, and I agree. I do agree with what like CP says, where it's like part of it is like you need to rebuild because obviously Mudrik's a jug mule and Sancho isn't working out, and Kunku needs to go. I forgot about him. We've got even more attackers leaving. Sorry that I forgot about Kunku and Felix as well.
Actually, when you bring in, never mind. We're gonna
potentially have 5 or 6 attackers leaving this summer, potentially.
Yes, and that's not even including again. In the midfield, we're probably going to lose, I think, Leslie and KDH, probably. That's the 2 that are probably going to leave. Unless there's another guy that you guys can help me correct with, right? Centre-back-wise, bro, it's in the defense department. Let's think about it. Vega is probably leaving. You've got, what's it called, Buddy Show, leaving, more than likely.
Yeah.
What's his name? Buddy Disasi is also leaving you. Trevor Chalobah, more than likely leaving you. Now, what's his name? Tosis is probably going to stay if in terms of like a backup and long-term wise, if I want to keep him, right? But again, that's another 4 guys, and you got to find a way to replace Marshall.
Yeah, and the thing is like, I don't think any of us are saying that like these players don't need to be replaced and improved on. The issue is like, let's just go through Disassi, let's go through the players we named: Disassi, Badiashile, and Nkunku, Felix, Sancho, Noni if he leaves, Hugh, Leslie, KDH. That's 9 players I've named. What's the common denominator with all of those 9 players? Anyone?
I'll let you finish off.
Cool. They were all bought by this ownership group.
Yeah.
So how are you so you fucked up with these 9? So you need to replace. Oh, and Mudryk as well. I forgot about him. 10. All 10 of these players you fucked up on. All 10 of them. So you need to improve on them. And that's just the first 10 that we could come up with. If you go further, Sanchez, Jorgensen, that's 12. Vega, 13. You just keep going and adding more players, and it's like you shouldn't have to replace this many players, because what you should have should be good enough. And like I said, you just need to improve in parts. Like, I'm trying to think, who did we sign that season under Conte when we won the league? It was Kante. Who else was
Alonso.
it? Alonso. Let me
David
go and
Luiz.
get it up.
David Luiz. Anyone else?
Victor Moses? Wasn't Victor Moses in that one?
No, Moses already here.
Oh, never mind.
Who did we sign?
Yeah,
that
Moses
season?
came back from loan. Batshuayi, Alonso, Kante, David Luiz.
Cool. Loans.
No, that was next season.
In terms of first team players, it was Batshuayi, Kante, Alonso, and Luiz. That's 4 players. That's 1 attacker, 1 midfielder, and 2 defenders. That's what I'm saying. You improved on what was there already. Yes, we had a good squad anyway, but that's what I'm saying. You needed to just improve on what's there. Like, for example, we should be going into this summer going, okay, we probably need to get another winger. We probably need another striker. We probably needed another centre back. And then you just add your Petrovic in goal. That's 3 players you've signed. And then you maybe go and buy 1 other for another position you need. Maybe a backup left back if you're going to get rid of Vega. That's 4 players. And then you have to get rid of a couple players. I've just said there, there are 13 players that you could make the argument for that we need to replace and upgrade on. 13.
So, yeah, I get where you're coming from. There's a lot there. And that's why, for me, it's kind of confusing, because you kind of set yourself up now with, you have a big mess to clean up now. I understand what you were trying to do in terms of, I'm just going to get a bunch of these. One of these has to hit, right? Because it wasn't that expensive. Obviously, they add up in price, transfer fees and all that. But one of these has to hit. Take the ones that hit and find a way to implement them into the team. Or if we really need the money, sell it. People won't be happy, but that's the circumstances in which you've established now the way you're building this model. But show me that you can clean up the whole mess, because this season was a weird one in terms of, despite Palmer'S coming out and saying like, oh, I have this many players and all this. No, dude, you had a bloated squad. We knew. You just had the liberties of isolating players that you really didn't want. And there are still some players that kind of fell to the wayside that we probably haven't even discussed in a while. And on top of that, in January, there was a handful of players that also left as well. So it's really, really disorganized chaos from the way I'm looking at it. It's somehow getting some positives here and there in terms of the recruitment and the players that we've been recruiting. We have gotten some good hits in there with your Cole Palmer'S. Listen, you guys say what you want. I think Jackson is going to be a hit at some point. I do think there's a good player there.
I think Jackson's been a hit just in general, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's. I just wasn't sure where people stand on that. I feel like I say Jackson, people get really fucking annoyed.
Yeah, like
Jackson.
the thing is, right? he should be a backup. Well, not backup, but
Exactly.
continue to a bigger striker. And 30 million on a guy who can score like 11 goals, maybe 15 goals or something, like doing that. That's not bad.
Yeah. I
I
think
just don't want to sign another version of him like Delap or something who might not do
like
anything.
I do think Gusto is a hit. You know, you look at and that's just looking at the players where like, you know, we signed them kind of young, not knowing what to expect, and then they came into the club and they're like, oh wow, these are actually good players. So I'm willing, and even to an extent, I think Nani is a very talented player. Time will tell with, you know, how it goes, but I do think he has a high ceiling. I do think he could potentially be in a. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say with him and like there's a couple others, and this is where I think you said something. I can't remember what it was said, but I disagree. It's just like I think the issue is outside of a couple players, and I'm not talking about the Caicedos and Enzos because I'll be real, like you expected those to hit really considering the price we paid.
Remember Gusto last season, not this season.
Yeah, Gusto has been a hit overall.
He was on the
bad
roll
it is
last season.
yeah.
It's just he's had a bad season this season.
Yeah, he's having a bad season.
But yeah, like the thing I'd say is like you say, oh, like the ones that are hitting stay and this that, and the other. Is that true?
Say one more time.
That you said,
The
oh,
ones
if
that
they
hit.
hit, they stay. Is that true?
No. I said like decide whether if they hit, if they're gonna stay, or if you need the money, then you sell them. People aren't gonna like it.
But that's
It is the
but
model you
that's
set up.
the issue I have is like if a player hits, you should be keeping him. You shouldn't be looking to replace him. Like for example, right? Like let's just look at this team, or let's look at all the people we got. Like I know I keep talking about Leslie should have said you had no reason to go to Sugo. The fact that Noni is even being talked about as potentially leaving, despite the fact he has been, whether you want to say best, most productive, whatever, he's been our most productive, definitely. I'd argue our best winger. He's certainly not been our worst. He should not be the one that is sacrificed. If he is, then that's another one you need to get. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I agree that, like, in some cases, like Palmer, for example, obviously, I think Jackson for the moment, but I do have this thought in the back of my mind if we were to get a Delap and he hits and Jackson is relegated to backup, that he'd be someone they'd be happy to sell. So yeah, I'm yet to be convinced, and I think ultimately this is why. And although I don't share the same worries, it's why I understand the people that have some small worries that if we got an offer of 60 mil for Santos, he would be sold.
Yeah, that's why we've talked about this. That's why I'm saying, for me, I'm done with the sporting directors. I've said this multiple times. I don't know how many more times I have to say it. I'm done with it because I think the way you've built the squad, sure, for the future, it looks nice. You know, potential FC, great. If all works out well, we got a great fucking team. If all works out well. But the way you've treated the present team and how you've recruited for the present team, what the fuck, dude? It's not there. It's not good. And so for me, I'm done with the sporting directors since basically the last summer, pretty much. I gave him this season. I'm not content. In terms of in the summer, though, it's going to be interesting to see if what they said of only the best will make it, this and that, we're recruiting really young talents that to help Chelsea in the future type thing. Okay, cool. Let's see, because Santos is one of the first to come from this model that they set up. Do you sell him if you're getting a good bid from Bayern or whoever? Do you sell him, or do you actually keep him for the team like you said was the point of this whole project and this whole model 3 years back? That's why, for me, in the summer, is going to say a lot about this ownership and a lot about this club. And don't be surprised if there's some twists and turns and some plot developments happening this summer. It's going to be an insane summer for the transfer.
Can I just put my hand up?
Sure.
You know, I just think for me, you need to see what have they shown us, what have they done, and then, you know, and then you can base your judgment upon it. And I think for me, the way these guys talk, the way these guys do their PR and everything like that.
Is actually, by the way, sorry to interrupt, Tom. Just quickly before you carry on, EPL Turf makes a fantastic comment.
This?
Yeah, you can't even give credit to Clear Lake, by the way. Really?
Was he signed? Wasn't he
Yeah,
signed
he
in
was
January?
signed in the summer.
We signed him in the
signed
summer
in
that
the
we signed like Fafana and all that.
Oh shit! The plot thickens.
Was he summer?
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty
swear,
sure
I
he
thought
was.
he was in
Yeah,
January.
I thought it was January, but it was like a borderline, when we had Christopher Vivell and then the...
January. Apologies. I've looked this up before. It was January. Never mind.
Okay, never mind. No, oof, you scared
Yeah,
me for a second.
I just think for me, irregardless, man, whatever happens will happen. But I don't know about the listen. I hope they don't sell Santos. I hope that doesn't happen, and all of this stuff is just us being overreactionary and everything like that. And we'll see what happens there. But I just think for me, I just look at like the amount of players you have to replace again, and it's just like with better scouting, you know what I mean. If we'd just been a bit more smarter about the stuff we had done, none of this would have necessarily have been required for, bro. You know what I mean? Like, genuinely speaking, I just look at them like, just a bit more competency would have sold so much for us, bro. Genuinely speaking.
Just the way I see it is that a lot of the players we're replacing aren't first team players. Like, as far as the midfield goes, they're going to be here next season. Caicedo, Enzo, Palmer.
Marshall, can I ask a question?
Wait, hold on, just real quick. Jackson, we're not replacing. We're trying to find someone to compete with him to overtake that spot. I don't think that counts as a replacement.
We are
Technically
no. We are trying to replace Jackson. Realistically speaking,
are we gonna sell Jackson?
No. The reason
That's what I'm trying to
number
say.
2, but Jackson's
In terms
been
of replacement,
relegated.
I'm thinking Felix is gonna get replaced, and Kunku's gonna get replaced.
Those are first team players.
Wait.
They're not first team players. Come on, man.
He's getting replaced.
No, they're part of the first
We're
team.
trying to get
like,
rid of him and find someone else to take his place.
But let's be realistic, bro. Felix was extra.
Starting 11. There you go. Let me clarify.
No.
Yeah, I said starting 11.
That's what he means by first team.
Yeah.
To him, he
Yeah.
means starting 11.
But
So I understand him
realistically,
saying that.
okay, so realistically, Jackson, they are looking
Yeah.
for someone to essentially replace him in the sense of like the way he works in our team. We want a guy that's going to be a better fit for us, right? And Jackson
You just see it differently because I say looking on someone to improve on, to basically
if you're
bench the
improving
player
on someone,
or
so
rotate
therefore
with him.
you're bringing in another. You're bringing in
Yeah.
yourself a new number 9 essentially.
But
whether you like it or
when I
not.
think replacing, it's like we're gonna sell these players and we have to put someone else in their position.
Well,
And
I mean-
I'm thinking Jadon Sancho's in that gray area, Nani's in that gray area.
Jadon Sancho's
our
gone.
wingers.
We shouldn't
Our
even
winger
play.
situation is a weird one where it's like
Jadon
we're
Sancho.
looking to replace wingers.
Yeah.
We're looking to replace at least two center backs because I don't know what's
If
going to
not
happen
more.
with Fofana.
If not more. If
But
not more.
we're I don't know. Do you guys think
Well,
we're set with our center
no,
or fullbacks?
No,
Oh,
not in
fullback,
terms of
yeah.
left back. Not in terms of left back. In terms of center back, so we're not settled either. But we are having that young kid from Strasbourg come in the summer to be our like fifth choice or.
So yeah,
fourth
and he's
choice
the one
center
that's
back.
replacing. He's probably replacing one of Badia Show Disasi. So
Badia
like
Show
again,
Disasi, or
yeah.
So he
But like
already have
there are
that, we already have
guys.
that coming in. I think we'll probably go for Mark Gahey. That's the major signing. So that'll be our like
That's a big one. Yeah, that's true. I forgot
4 or
about that.
5 you can think of. Right, could be Tosin, the Sar kid. And
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
the
gonna-
Black
I'm
Up
not gonna.
kid,
I'm not gonna crash it out on the Sar kid. He's what?
No, did Ahmed just say? Did he say black up? I thought he said black up. That's
Yeah,
oh, sorry, bro.
chill out, mate. Chill out.
Sorry, bro. That's what I
Okay,
thought you
sorry.
said.
Chill out,
So,
uncle.
sorry. With regards to the Star kid, I'm not gonna crash it on him or anything. He's part of the same team that everyone's glazing now in Strasbourg. He's part of the same defense that Petrovic is part of. He's part of the same team that Santos is part of. That everyone's glazing up. So he must be good enough to a certain level if they're almost gonna be a Champions League team. And he's only 18.
Yeah.
So I think him being the 4th or 5th choice center back next season is fine. I'm not saying he's starting as long as we get someone like Mark Gahey, because then we have at least experience. I'm not saying he's world class, but I think he could be like a Gary Cahill in this generation, which is good enough to do a job to a certain extent, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all he needs to be, right? With regards to wingers, we have Esteval coming in next season, and I'm sorry, he's going to provide me more in the wings than I think personally, in terms of GA, than fucking Sancho. I will say that. Sancho has 2 goals and I think 2 or 3 assists in the
I don't
league.
think I'm going to disagree with that.
I think
it's very
Esteval
possible.
can do that for me. I'm
Yeah.
not even saying more than that. I'm not saying he's going to score me a banger of goals. I've told Scott, I've said this multiple times, if he gets me 5 goals or 7 goals in the league, he has exceeded expectations, and you guys know how highly I have rated him since the day we were linked.
We'll
So
remember
he's
this comment, Jay, since you seem to know everything. Go
right.
ahead,
So
Curry.
so that's already an improvement, and that's a player coming in who's already better than Santos. I mean Sancho for me personally. Okay, we got a better midfield strengthening because Santos is coming in, and people can do the whole fear mongering. But we had the same thing when everyone in this fan base rated Colwell, and there were heavy links to Liverpool. And what
This
did
is
we
true.
say when we were
Forgot about that.
when there were quotes of 80 million pounds or 70 million pounds for Colwell? What did Chelsea say? Fuck no. When people said people might go, they might go for Cole Palmer. What did we do? We renegotiated his contract to up his wages and lengthened it even more. So I'm not gonna do this fear mongering out. Oh my God, if they sell Santos, if they will, I've said this to Oliver privately, and I've said this before. I will crash out. Then I will not fully believe on this project, because if they sell him, then I
I
don't
think I've
believe
done that.
anything they say. Right? That's what I've
They could
told
have
Oliver as
technically
well.
done that with Cole Palmer when you think
To be
about it
fair,
too.
Right?
okay.
And they had the chance with
He's possibly
Colwell.
too much.
They had it with Colwell
Cole was a
after
little
the
bit
Brighton
different.
season. Right? When Colwell said I
Uh,
wanted more game time, and there was rumors that Liverpool were willing to put 70 million. Major
part of me, part of me wonders if Cole, if it was a bit more, they believe they could increase his value even more if he played for us. That could be that would be a fair argument. But I think
I wouldn't say that's a fair argument, because if you're saying he's going to increase his value for more than 80 pounds, he would be still far away the most
There was
expensive center back in the world, because Van
there,
Dijk went for
there
70
was there was
million to
never
75.
there was never 80 million. By the way, the most it got up to was 40.
that's what I'm saying.
No,
He
the
could really.
report was from Liverpool up to 70.
That was
I
last
remember
season. That was
summer.
just last season, though. CP, I probably argue,
No,
right?
it wasn't.
La-
It
No,
was
that was
last summer,
no, that was
last
was
summer.
yeah, last summer. Yeah, that was
yeah.
70 million.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I'm
40
agreeing with you,
million.
CP. Last summer, they were willing to, I think it was Bayern or someone was willing to offer 70 to 80 million euros
No, that
last
was
summer.
Liverpool.
After
That was Liverpool for
was it
70
not Bayern?
million.
I thought it was
Yes.
Bayern that bid for him.
No,
No,
it was Liverpool.
Bayern have not been in for him.
To Liverpool.
It was
No, it was
Liverpool,
Liverpool.
the first season
Yeah.
before the Pochettino
Yeah.
season, and it was the most that ever got bid was 40. There might have been reports of like
Yeah, there were
60.
reports for 70 million.
Oh, they bid
Um,
40.
Yes,
Was what
we
they bid.
understand
That's
that, but
true.
just like everyone's
PSG
fucking
is
freaking
interested
out
too,
about a
if you
bid,
guys remember.
about a possible bid from Bayern Munich, everyone's fucking glazing that up like we've already sold Santos. I'm gonna say the same thing, right? There's reports on many players that are bid, and we've quoted on that thing anyways. So he was quoted on multiple reports that they were gonna go up to maybe 70 million for Colwell, and we didn't sell him. And if we're talking about a replacement goalkeeper, if this management has a brain for this summer, Petrovic should be our starting goalkeeper. We have that in our setup. In our setup is a Petrovic who's coming back from loan, and if we're gonna and Sanchez says he doesn't want to be in this club anymore. Good thing he can fuck right off. And reports have said before Sanchez said he wanted to leave. The report says between Sanchez, Jorgensen, and Petrovic. So they somehow still see him in the picture. It could be PR. I'll give you that. We'll see how the summer pans out. But we have a natural goalkeeper replacement. We have a winger replacement for Sancho. We in Esteval. We have some of these things in our remit already. So I'm not gonna freak out about that. We do need a few more signings. We need a striker. I agree with that. That can be anywhere from Osimhen, Gyökeres, Isak, Jonathan David, whatever you want to do. And then we need a left wing and goal scorer. And apparently we're linked with Liao that Marcel might get talk about. We all have opinions, but I know at the very least he will get me more GA than Pedro Neto and Sancho. I know the price might be stupid. I agree with that, but he will at least give me more GA. And we need more goals in our attack anyways, right? The only thing I can definitely say is there's no reports on a backup left back. That's what I can say. But everything else we either have covered. Either we have links, extreme links like Mark Gahey, or we have people coming from our loan system in terms of Petrovic, Esteval, and Santos.
My CP, the only thing I want to say, because I do agree with you, the Santos thing, and like my only thing about the Santos thing, and indeed the Colwell thing in the summer, if it had happened, I'm just interested to see, because I don't think he goes anywhere. Ultimately, I'm just interested to see. Say we got a £70 million bid from Bayern, what they would do, and the same with Colwell when it was linked. What would have happened if we got that 70 million offer from Liverpool? I'd be interested to see what they would have done. Because there is a as I said, there's a small part, and like there's a very small thought in the back of my mind of like, I could see them accepting it if there was a bid that high. Obviously, not of like 40 million come in, but as I said, say we got a bid of 70 million. I'd be interested to see what they do, because I think that would say a lot of like,
I agree,
of our fears in terms of where they stand.
So,
Because if
Scott,
they straight up go no, like if that bid comes in and they go no, then I think a lot of our fears when it comes to players of a certain level and like how they see them and whether they're for sale, I think it would ease a lot of people's fears. Like, okay, if you're of a certain level, you're not getting sold. So like,
No, I agree, Scott. So that's why I said if we sell Santos, then I don't believe them in anything. Then my whole thing is gone. That's what I said. So that's why I just put the stipulation. I don't think they are, but if they do, then I don't believe them. Then I'm fully crashing out. I said I will crash out, but I don't think they are going to sell them. But if they do, then I'm crashing out. And I've said this to Oliver privately too in a couple of weeks about this.
Since we're on the topic of Santos, and I do got to start wrapping up, 10, 15 minutes from now. I figured let's bring into the conversation Santos and Petrovic, to be honest. And we got to give some praise because these guys, for one, if you guys don't already know, Strasbourg managed to defeat Lyon over the weekend 4-2.
4-1, or was it 4-2?
4-2. An incredible result for them. It's insane. And that puts them in 5th place in Ligue 1. And they have, I think it's, we're 1 point away from 2nd place?
Yes, they're 1 point from second. It's all based on goal difference because I think it's 47 and we're on Strasbourg's on 46. So 2nd to 4th is on the same amount of points, just goal difference.
It's very possible for them to actually get that because I looked at their games and 2 of the games they're playing that's left in the season is Monaco and Nice, which are ahead of them on the table. So if they actually manage to defeat both or draw in points or make them drop points, it's very, very, very doable. PSG is also on their counter. I don't expect them to actually beat PSG. PSG's been very formidable in Ligue 1 this season based on their record. But
that's an understatement. Have you seen the gulf between 2nd and 1st?
Yeah, it's big. It's a big gap, man. But I wanted to get some stats here and kind of get excited a little bit about André Santos. I am actually excited to see how this kid's gonna fit into the team next season if he stays, which we just discussed. André Santos is a CDM with the most goals scored in top 5 European leagues. He's got 25 games under his belt, 9 goals, 1 assist, 13 shots, 78 big chance conversions, 7 big chances created, 88% passing accuracy, 87 tackles, and an average rating of 7.44. We continue on. Against Lyon, he had 88% pass accuracy, a goal, a dribble succeeded, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances made, 5 ball recoveries, 7 out of 11 duels won, which is a big important stat for Maresca, is the duels won, right? Fouled 3 times. He's doing absolutely incredible. And here you can look at his pie chart essentially of all the stats that he's had. And one that stood out for me, where is it? It's, maybe I'm reading the wrong one. Oh, shots per 90. This kid is taking a lot of shots. 78.1 the average shots per 90. It's he's doing an incredible job here. André Santos is just overall impressive season. I did not expect him to develop this quickly, this well this quickly. But not even just Santos. I think we got to give praise to Petrovic, who is, oh my God, he went from here to way up here in the span of a season. Like, we know he was good, but I didn't realize he would hit the heights that he's hitting right now, which is insane to see. Georgi Petrovic versus Lyon, 9 saves, 2 goals conceded, 0.43 goals prevented, 2.43 expected goals off target face, or what the hell is GOT? I don't know. 30
on target.
Yeah, I think
goals on target. Yeah.
Goals on target. Okay, yeah. 35 out of 43 accurate passes, 2 high claims, 15 recoveries. We look at this chart here. Passes completed per 90. He's one of the best in all competitive leagues in terms of passes per 90, and probably second best.
He's on Ireland up there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really up there, and probably second best. I think he is second best next to Milinkovic Savic here in terms of prevented goals. And this includes many goalkeepers.
And this reminds me of like those. You guys remember those old Hazard graphs where it was like Hazard was in the corner for like dribbles?
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same.
I'll be honest, Marshall. You say like this is a chance where I can do one of these like I told you so moments, or like I've watched the guy for ages moments. Like I'll be honest, like as someone who kept track of this guy from before he came to Chelsea, this was always going to happen. Like those numbers, that's the same as what he was doing in the MLS. You can say it's the MLS; it was the same.
Yeah.
His numbers in the MLS. He is statistically the best goalkeeper to have ever played in the MLS. By some margin, by the way.
Wow.
Like, it's not close. At all. So, and even at Chelsea, you saw that when it came to shot, like, the only thing that's massively improved this season is his ball-playing ability, and that is down ultimately to the manager, and as much as I like Maresca, that has been a fault of his in comparison to a senior this season. While he has improved a few players, there has not been enough individual improvement in some areas. Like Caicedo's improved. I'd say Enzo has improved attacking wise. I'd say
Cucurella, I would say.
No, Cucurella hasn't improved. I'll be honest, Cucurella hasn't improved. He was still doing this at Brighton.
Cucurella's improved goal scoring.
No, I think he's improved.
Again, okay, goal scoring, yes, but everything else he was doing at Brighton, I'll be honest. Jackson, I think, had improved before he fell off a cliff. I'm trying to think who else. Like outside of that, off the top of my head, that's the only ones I can really think of. Like he got more consistent performances. I'd say he got better performances out of Noni than other coaches have managed. And he got more out of Mudryk. But yeah, like ultimately, I think this has just come from good coaching and having trust and belief. And with the Santos thing, is like I think next season, number one, he should be in this team regardless. He should become the starter of this team. Like I think the long-term plan moving forward from next season, and this can happen at any point, but I wouldn't expect it to happen straight away, is the midfield pairing should be him and Caicedo.
I don't, based on the stats, I mean, he's scored more goals than Enzo.
He is arguably, Marshall, he is arguably the most complete midfielder that Chelsea currently have.
Yeah. I really, really hope.
And when I say complete, I mean in terms of all-round game, and I'd argue he's above Caicedo. Because as much as I like Caicedo, and Caicedo is definitely better in some areas, I'm talking as a more complete midfielder, all-round game. I think his all-round game might be better than Caicedo's.
Here, there's a comment here I wanted to read. Strasbourg technical director Pascal I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. On the Blue Co model, look at Petrovic, for example, who came to racing, playing at Chelsea last year. It wasn't easy to convince him. He has progressed. He is the goalkeeper who touches the balls, the most balls in Europe. The club where he will play next year will have a very good goalkeeper. Thanks to the racing project. So It's impressive to see how he's improved on the passing ability, which was something that I think it's Maresca. I agree with Scott. Maresca made a big mistake and a big misjudgment, not thinking that he could actually take this player and develop him into the player that he needed him to be, thinking that Sanchez was that one. Now, hopefully, if this is a manager who learns from his mistakes and isn't stubborn, as I think he is, he will bring Petrovic into this team next season, and we don't sell him, and we can at least work with Petrovic until we get the proven goalkeeper, unless Petrovic becomes that guy next season. So, I'm really happy with Petrovic's progress. I'm really happy with what's going on with Santos. I'm praying that both of these players don't get sold, that we actually make use of them next season. Anyone else have some thoughts?
I'm not surprised by this, because again,
this is the part where you do that thing with the mic.
I'm not surprised by this, to be honest, because again, I watch these guys on a week in, week out basis. I don't know what you. I don't know
Sorry,
what else to say.
Ahmed, I just had a question because you're a league analyst. I remember last season you're like, Rennes, my team is better than Strasbourg. So I was just wondering how's your team, Rennes, doing the
Yeah,
compared to
because
Strasbourg?
90% of the
Just
squad
wondering.
got 90% of our squad got ripped apart, and then the Rennes was it called? The Rennes guys decided to get wrong to get the wrong guys. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's just factually what happened.
Mm.
They literally
Yeah.
lost all of they literally lost all of their technical ballers, and yeah, they got cooked.
Yeah, hold that.
No, but that's what literally happened to them. Like, there's no other way to put it. That's literally legit what happened to them last season. The problem with last season with Strasbourg is that they were in like some weird in-between stage where they hadn't fully stripped the squad, but they at the same time had fully stripped they were like halfway through stripping the squad. So they were like an in-between team in that period of time.
Yeah. I'm actually, I mean, I'm
manager,
going to
too.
tune into Strasbourg
and
a
also,
little bit more this season.
and also they had
'cause-
Vieira as well. That's a good point. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I do want to see where this team goes with Strasbourg. Next Casually FC show, I do want to talk on Rossignol a little bit more, and obviously talk about what's going to happen with UCL placements. I'll save that for the next show when I have a little more time. But I'm super impressed with what's happening with some of the players there in terms of how they're developing. A lot of credit due to Rossignol. I think you got to give some credit to in terms of the directors and the scouting. There was a high ceiling there, and they're kind of achieving that ceiling. Go ahead, Ahmed.
We're gonna learn Cole Palmer to Strasbourg when they get Champions League football and we get Europa League football.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna
Bro, I
happen.
can't. Can you imagine if they finish second and we finish
Way to
fourth?
cause a riot at Stamford Bridge.
Can you imagine if we get kicked out of Champions League because they finish second and we finish fourth?
Wait, we'd
Or
get
fifth,
kicked out.
sorry.
No,
There's-
we'll
Aaron-
discuss it
I
next
remember
show. But there's a loophole.
There's a loophole. Yeah,
Yeah.
we sell
Yeah.
them. We sell them, right?
Something like that. We'll go over it next time.
I mean,
and
if
the
you
last-
ever have a
We
problem,
have to technically like divest for them from a year.
But
I mean,
yeah,
even without that, if UEFA have a problem with it, if I were Chelsea, I'd just be like, well, Manchester United and Nice were fine to play in Europa League together without any of that.
Strasbourg,
any of that
not
adjustment.
Strasbourg, Salzburg and Red Bull, Leipzig. Like, yeah, there's ways around it. We'll discuss it. And there'll be
Manchester
more-
City and their club in
Genoa,
La Liga as well.
Girona.
Yeah, but they only had 47%
Girona,
of that one. That's why.
Yeah. We'll discuss it on the next show because there'll be more info that comes out and explains it a little better by then, I hope. And the last thing I wanted to discuss, because I didn't want to forget this either, is we'll see. Enzo to Madrid, and not even just Atletico Madrid. There's also rumors of Real Madrid in discussion for this player.
Going to Atletico.
What
Let's
happened?
send them there.
He ain't going to Atletico. That's just.
Let's send them
Yeah,
there,
we'll
man.
see. So
He is
this
the-
happened
he is
during
the-
international
he's
break.
the only player I can imagine possible.
Justin, several Atletico Madrid players tried to convince Enzo Fernandez to join them over the international break. He's determined to stay at Chelsea in the future. All options are
Just got
open.
Gallagher first.
Yes. Atletico Madrid want Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez, and the Spanish side are preparing an offer of around.
Good offer.
Go fuck yourself if this is true. If this is true, go fuck yourself. That's just rude. Don't do.
I mean, player
business
plus
with
cash,
Atletico
I
anymore.
don't believe
Like,
that.
I mean, we might have to think about that one.
Plus Pablo Barrios in exchange for the Argentine midfield. Okay.
No,
Well,
forget the
it's
£25 million. That player plus cash thing never happens
Yeah.
in modern football.
Yeah, and the last thing is intermediaries have been talking to Spanish giants Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid about Chelsea star Enzo Fernandez, but Chelsea have no plans to part ways with Fernandez and have not had any discussions about a possible summer move.
Let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. Let's make
Why?
it happen, bro. Listen, you've got better players than him. That are already loaded,
No,
so why
we
not?
haven't.
I have to disagree. You got better players than him, loaded. So
Like, he's been one of our top 3 players this season, so I beg a difference.
listen, man. I'm willing to let him go. You know what I mean? I'm willing to let him go. With him.
For the risk, man. Like, us getting Champions League football, let's throw away Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah,
Like, he's
man.
nothing.
Listen, yeah, man. Let's throw it
This is
away.
another one to look at for the summer if we don't make UCL.
You don't even want to move, I don't think, either.
If we don't
Whatever.
make UCL, I wouldn't be surprised if Enzo is swayed in a different direction.
I mean, that could happen to a lot of players as well. In all fairness,
True.
if we like,
If
it
we
wouldn't
make
be just
UCL,
him.
then the beautiful
It
game
could
is
be
well
called Palmer
formed.
too, and I don't know, Caicedo. Who knows?
Give me 90 million, and if we don't make UCL, I'll take it.
I mean, 90.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
Mhm.
Give me 90
I
million.
still wouldn't stand for 90 million because I think he's one of the top midfielders, creativity wise as well.
I
And
need him.
I have seen him put a shift in as well, like on the midfield as well, like going up and down.
Yeah, man. Shift type, man. Shift type, man.
If we're doing
Wait.
that, I need him replaced adequately because I'm not looking to ideally deduct midfielders from this squad. If anything, I'm looking to add
100% agree
on
with
the
that.
current total. We need to replace him and do it well.
A fair point. Beautiful game. This is a fair point.
I don't know, like
You know,
Enzo and
people get
Caicedo
punishments,
was my
fine,
dream.
shit, peace out.
It was my dream midfield, and I got what I wanted, so I don't want to sell.
Yeah,
Like
no.
before they joined, I really wanted them too.
And listen, the call-in show this Wednesday, we'll be discussing some of the returning players and a few other things as well. But I'm hoping that this season is like a one-off in terms of the crazy amount of injuries for Lavia. I really do hope so. Because I say that because at Southampton he didn't have this issue. He played a lot of minutes at Southampton prior to coming to Chelsea. Then Poch season ruined him. He's been in and out of the season of the team this whole season. If he can stay fit next season, midfield wise, we're gonna be tough to crack. I really do believe that, especially with Santos.
Like what Scott said, I don't see how you can have anything other than Santos and Caicedo as the pivot. So Lavia holds bench, regardless.
Also, listen,
No, I agree.
also,
I think there's a lot of
question-
rotation. It depends
The
on
bigger
UCL
question
too.
to ask here: if you are saying Santos is the guy that's going to be in the pivot for us, then what's Enzo doing? If he's the
chilling on the bench.
Rotation, UCL, depending on. I think it's going to depend on a
but
lot of
then,
factors.
I
but
think
for
he's
me,
still- I
for me,
think
for
he's
me,
still our
then,
main
for me,
star, by the way.
unironically, for me, then listen, the £80 million, £70 million for him, it becomes appealing because I can probably get someone just as good, someone that's a bit more agile, bit more, he's got a bit more agility with him. Unlike Enzo, that can do that job for me.
But he isn't
Santos.
replaced though, is he? Like you're saying he's
No.
He
You
hasn't
get the
happened.
money for him. You get the
We're
money
not
for
gonna
him in
get the
summer.
money for him.
No, if we tell him we get 70 million for him,
50%,
and then
yeah.
we can spend that money. Listen, there's guys that you can get money, you can spend money on that will do what he does in terms of find the final.
Let's just take a moment
No,
to
no,
dissect
I
what.
disagree.
Let's just
I
take a moment to
disagree.
dissect
I'm
what
sorry.
Ahmed's saying.
I'm
We
so-
literally just talked about our ownership penny pinching and doing all this for Cassidy. You're literally sitting here saying that they're gonna take their 105 million pound signing, take 70 million for it on the 10-year contract that he has to 2032, just to get another player.
Okay, so the difference I would probably
It's not gonna
argue
happen,
between
Ahmed. Come
the difference
on.
between the difference of Cassidy is Cassidy was barely playing, bro, when he was playing for us, bro, and we were trying to penny pinch to break even of a guy that was barely playing for us. Enzo Fernandez is playing for us consistently, and his stock keeps on rising because of what he's doing in international football.
Yeah,
At
but
what
also-
point?
So
At what
but
point?
I wouldn't
And then you
agree.
also.
I
This is
wouldn't-
the other thing
I
that
wouldn't
also
stop-
bothers me. I'm sorry, Curry.
Go on.
Real quick.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that also bothers me. We literally sit here and criticize the squad building of the team, and you're literally saying, you know what? Get rid of Enzo. We can have a KDH there for now, or another one that we're gonna take a risk.
Statistically, he has been poor for us though. Whether you
No,
look at
he
me or not,
hasn't.
statistically, he has been poor for us. Again,
Yeah.
all I have to go back to is that Gallagher has better stats from him than last season, bro.
Ah, no, we're doing this again.
No, wait, stop. They're completely different players. We're not doing this bullshit right now.
I
Fuck
heard Gallagher straight
I
away.
was
I
gonna,
know.
I was gonna bring up Gallagher.
Fuck right off.
I was gonna bring up Gallagher. You know,
I knew it!
Hazard, you can fuck right off.
As soon as you said someone
guys,
more nimble and agile, I was like,
He was
"He's
so
fucking-
shameless
I
of
swear
Gallagher
to
in his
God."
tweets as
Fuck
well.
right
with it.
off.
Like, I
now
know
listen,
that.
guys. I was trying to refrain from bringing up Gallagher, but now that Ahmed's done it, if we sell Enzo, I hope he goes to Atletico Madrid to bench Conor Gallagher or keep him on the bench as he already is.
If Ahmed had the whistle, he would send you off for saying that.
Yeah, he would. Hold that.
Oh,
No, you know
my
what? He would go to
days.
Real Madrid and probably do bits over there. That's just the sad reality.
So
I think.
I just
I
want to say
said Atletico Madrid, not Real Madrid.
So
I know,
this
yeah,
guy's-
but I'm saying Real Madrid as
So
well.
this Ahmed guy is saying, let's sell him, let's say, for example, to Real Madrid, because we can find another guy. You know which club is really good at finding people for decent pricing? Real Madrid. So if they could find someone like Enzo and not pay 70, 80 million. They would have done it already. What are you waffling about? They got Kamavinga for 35 million. They're getting Trent for free. They got Rudiger for free. They're getting all these players. They got Vinny early on and Rodrigo for 40 million.
Yeah.
What are you on about? Since 2020, they've been the best at finding gems at decent pricing.
How much did they pay for Valverde too? I'm just curious if you
They
know.
paid 3 million for Valverde.
Yeah, like that guy.
Wow.
So I'm
only-
just thinking.
Fucking
The
bargain.
only two players they've spent mad money on is
Modric.
I think 65
you
million
mean-
pounds or 75 million euros, and Jude Bellingham. That's it.
Oh yeah, Julian.
Everyone else has been around below 50 million.
I can't.
So what?
believe- I knew-
So if there was already an Enzo Fernandez type player in the world, they could get on a cheap and not pay 70, 80 million. Real Madrid would have done it already. What is he waffling about?
Yeah, that's.
I
that's
just,
crazy.
it's not gonna happen anyway. We're keeping Enzo for like at least a good while.
And
For
I
sure.
disagree with.
At
I'm
least-
sorry.
well,
I disagree with the point of this whole Santos is a shoo-in. No, he's not. Horses for courses. It depends on the team we're playing. If we're playing
Yeah.
a top 6 team, I would play Santos. Agreed. If we're playing a more low block, I want more playmakers.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a lot of rotation. And what I will say, at least in the beginning of the season, it seemed this way. In terms of man management and kind of having the team harmoniously be on the same page, Maresca was doing that in the beginning of the season. Like the B team and the A team, the whole situation there, it seemed like we were all going in the same direction and players weren't very disgruntled about it. Obviously, towards January, we saw Vega be a little disgruntled. That was bad man management. I'll give Maresca that. Felix in his playing time, really tough to get playing time over Cole Palmer. Let's be serious. In Nkunku, it was 50-50 if you want to play Nkunku or Jackson. I'll be so honest with you. And now that we're seeing Nkunku play, despite how many minutes he's gotten and not been up to snuff, I don't feel bad about Jackson being picked over him in the early beginning of the season either. So it's just like, outside of those three, I didn't see much of disharmony in the squad. I think it's very possible, and this is going to be on Andrés Santos. I said this already. If Andrés Santos were to get sold, I think it would happen in January when he realizes that maybe he's a rotational player. Maybe if he's not starting like Moises Caicedo every game. So for me, I'd rather just have a good depth. I'd rather keep Enzo. And I think Enzo would be fine if he's rotating minutes in UCL football and crucial games, as long as he's getting play time consistently in some shape or form. I think he'll be okay with it, just like I think Lavi would be okay with it as well. And
we might have a
hopefully
midfield of
Santos will be
3
okay.
at times.
Yeah, because
And it's very possible.
Because people saying Maresca's a cheap Pep. Do you remember what Pep used to do during his heyday? He always used to rotate the midfield with Fernandinho, Gundogan, Kovacic, whoever it would maybe. He would
That's
always
true.
rotate
Yes,
depending on the
exactly.
team.
Exactly.
So I don't know what
And-
Ahmed's waffling
There
about.
he is. Here's my guy.
Yeah.
Who had to
Listen.
pick up
at the end of the
Gallagher.
day, man, listen.
So is Scott
You
here?
know,
Scott's not here?
I just want to say, you know what, Oliver, if that's what you feel like floats your boat about Gallagher, let's make it happen, man. I don't care. I'm just pointing out a statistical truth that Marshall is not willing to accept at the end of the day. And
You're not gonna
listen,
get 70
you're-
for Enzo.
you
That's
you ain't-
insane.
you ain't
the
accepting
reality
what
is, at
you're
the end
doing.
of the day, bro.
You're asking
you know,
the club to take a £45 million loss.
on a great player.
Well, you were saying that amortization wise, what he's contract amortized over 8 years, isn't it? Because he's got the
Yeah, but
excuse
they
of
have to pay out the rest of the contract, whoever were to get
So
that.
Ahmed, they would still be under 20 million under their amortization because they would still need to pay about 90 million.
So wasn't he? So he can do 80 million plus 20 million add-ons.
Do you mean not like
maybe?
Enzo?
Okay,
like,
okay,
player?
yeah.
Ahmed,
If you
answer
say it
my
that way,
question.
maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Ahmed,
That's what I'm
answer my
saying.
question.
You also
So
complain about
Madrid-
depth, and if we get rid of Enzo, that's more
I'm
good
just saying,
quality
listen,
depth
I feel like
versus
there's better out
mediocre
there.
depth.
I'll just, but
There's
listen,
not,
on Wednesday,
like, where?
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you Wednesday,
Like
and I will have a
what
list
you're
of
saying
lists.
to me, what you're saying is that I'm okay with selling Enzo, and in his place for depth, Raksaki.
No, I'm saying we use that money.
Because let's be real. Let's be real. That's what the depth would be.
We'll get some young.
Listen,
stuff
though, we're
up
not doing that.
KDH
Don't do
is
that,
gone.
Marshall.
Leslie
Yeah,
Lukaku
but-
may or may not stay. Who's it
Yeah,
gonna be?
but listen, again, the depth for me, we'll find solutions for that. We'll buy
Isugo.
players. Yeah, so there you go. You said it
So,
yourself.
no,
There
wait,
you go.
wait,
You really
Ahmed,
wanna get rid of
answer me this
Enzo?
question. Ahmed, answer me this question. So I've pitched this. So Madrid, since 2020, have been the best side in recruiting players for prices under 50 million, and the only two players that spend more than 50 million has been Chouameni and Bellingham. So if they were, and you said that we can find another player like Enzo so easy. So if Real Madrid are willing to pay 70 million to 90 million for Enzo, you're telling me they couldn't find someone for cheaper? Because they've been the best
Well,
since
listen.
2020.
Well, listen. Okay,
Yeah,
listen.
yeah.
These guys, they like to buy the big name players, right? The best up and coming players. Those are
Excuse
big
me,
names.
no, they didn't.
The
Vinny was
big
not a
names.
big name player. Rodrigo was not a big name player.
Listen.
Valverde was not a big
I'm
name
talking
player.
about.
was not
I'm
a big
talking
name
about.
player.
Again, Camavinga was a big name player. The problem
he
was
was not.
not only.
No,
Yes,
he
he
was
was.
not. He
When he
was-
was, yes, he
Camavinga
was.
was
Because
not a
we
big
were
name
linked to.
player.
No,
Camavinga
was
no.
up and coming
No,
at the time.
Camavinga was. Many
No, he was
clubs.
not.
Many
No,
clubs
he
were
was
willing.
not. He was
Many
a young-
clubs
no,
were
no, he
literally.
wasn't, yeah.
Many clubs were literally linked to Camavinga with that 30 million. But Real
Came
Madrid was
from
the club.
Rennes, but he was up and coming. I
Yes,
don't
but
think
you
No,
he was already
he was one of the
established.
best. Camavinga was literally one of the best hot prospects, bro. Legit in Ligue 1. Every club was linked to him. He had a 30 million thing. We're not going to do that, bro. Okay? At the end
No,
of the
we're
day,
not.
yeah.
No,
we're not going to do that. We're not going to do
Renato
that.
Santos
He-
was a big
You're being
name.
disingenuous because I can
That's
In that
different.
same season.
Ronaldo Sanchez was no. Ronaldo Sanchez he was already at Bayern before all of that happened with Camavinga.
Wait,
you
hold
talking
up. A big name player is a player who's a big name in terms of being world class. Camavinga was not. You can say a big name player like a Ronaldo.
Yes,
or
I'm
a
talking
Modric.
about up and comer.
No,
You are misconstruing my words now because I said to you
No, 'cause
he was
no,
a
that's
big
not a
name player in terms of
misconstruing
up and coming.
word. That's what a big
Yes,
name player
there
is.
is.
You could say he was a young player.
I'm
You're saying
talking
two
about.
things in the same sentence.
Yes,
He's
okay,
a
fair
big-
enough.
He was
No.
a big up and coming player. You could
Yes,
say, but he
that's
wasn't
what I'm
a
trying to
big
say.
name
Yes,
player. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. He's a big
He's
up
a very
and coming player.
promising player,
People,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying to you. A lot of people were linked to him because he was that guy that was like, if he does what he does and at his age, he's gonna become a top player. Because we faced
Okay,
him
what
even.
about Rodrigo and Vinny? What about Valverde?
Listen, Rodrigo and Vinny and Valverde, fair enough. I will give you that, okay? But the other guys that you've mentioned, Chouameni, Jude
Yeah.
Bellingham, some of the Rudiger,
Modric, over the course of the
Modric.
years,
Yeah,
yeah.
No,
these
Rudiger
guys
was
were
on a
top
free.
players.
Rudiger was on a
These
free.
guys, some of them, yeah, were top players like Rudiger. Modric was a top player at Spurs, right? And some of
Yeah.
them were top young guys. When I say top young guys, I mean guys that were
Ronaldo,
top
Bale.
in terms of like the up and coming
Ronaldo.
guys that were coming in. My problem is, listen,
Kaká.
sometimes, yeah, Real
Brahim
Madrid
Diaz,
also.
they got on a free.
Real Madrid, yes, at times, yeah, they like to do sometimes what I like to call, they like to take the easy road at times. Sometimes where it's easier, take the big names, because we used to do that too, right? Where sometimes it's a bit more easier for you to take the easier road, if that makes sense. But for me, if you guys are believing in the scouting model, why can't we get
Yeah, but why do we need to get rid of Enzo when he's a really good player?
I'm just saying, for me,
That's what I don't get.
I feel like for me, bro, he's been alright. I don't think he's been
You
one of our
honestly
best
think
players.
Santos could come in here and just replace
No.
Enzo like that?
I don't think he'll replace. I don't think he'll replace. Thingy's passing. That's something that I know.
No, but I
me and
know. I'm talking about. I'm
me
just
and
saying,
CP agree.
position-wise, like, do you think?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
But-
what I'm saying. We find a replacement for him.
But here's the
we
thing.
actually find a
I don't think there's
It
anything
could
we need
happen.
to.
It could happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I think Ahmed's also okay in saying that when you look at the whole picture of Enzo's career so far at Chelsea, he has been okay. He had a nice start in the beginning and the Graham Potter where he was, the deep lying
Oh, you mean
playmaker.
from the
We
very
saw a lot
beginning?
of good potential. Last season, not so hot. I think last season also justifiably he was robbed of a lot of assists and a lot of good performances
He
based
was
on
going
stats
through
and all
that.
the hernia
injury,
situation and stuff. But regardless of that, when you look at it on paper, it wasn't that great of a season. Started off the season worse than last season and then picked it up. And now this has been his best season so far in terms of performances. So it's been, I think when it averages out, it's 50-50. It's like 50%. Like it's been okay overall. If
I
he
still
keeps
say
this
this
going-
season.
this
he's
season,
been
I
one of
agree.
our top
I agree
players,
with you,
yeah.
Chris. I think he is so far this season. He's top 3. I agree. It's up there with Caicedo, and he's up there with Cucurella. Like I agree with you. But if he continues his next season, then we're having a different discussion. Then we can say, okay, he's been good for Chelsea, and then it goes up and incrementally increases over the years. We'll see what happens with Enzo. I think these Madrid links aren't surprising, considering they've been looking for someone to replace Toni Kroos's ability to pass. Maybe potentially that's going to be Trent when that's finalized. I don't think they're going to pay the fee for Enzo because right now Enzo's fee is extraordinary. And yeah, time will tell with this one. It is an interesting link. Very, very weak links right now, but it could potentially grow into something. But time will tell. We'll see. I think it's depending a lot on Chelsea, UCL football, playing time, all that fun stuff. But ladies and gents, I do have to wrap up. Thank you so much for being here. Big up to the panel. I think we had a phenomenal show today. Plenty of things to discuss next time as well. So stay tuned for that. We do have a call-in show on Wednesday. We'll be discussing the players returning from injury, what to expect against Spurs, so on and so forth. So tune in for that. I know a few of you have been asking me to be on the panel and all that shit. Listen, CP could tell you, come here more regularly, come to the call-in shows. Let's see how it works out. Let's see if you got the chemistry and all that stuff. You're a good fit for the show. And then we'll consider it for sure. I'm not closed off to, bringing in some fresh faces on the panel to bring in some different ideas and perspectives. I'm all for it, but you got to show up to the call-in show at least to just get the ball rolling on that. But call-in show this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month. Let's discuss the Chelsea game against Spurs, the players returning. Thursday, obviously, we'll be reacting to the Spurs match, hopefully a win, potentially a stream on Tuesday, which could be a preview depending on how things go. So stay tuned for all that stuff. And then we'll be back on the weekend, hopefully, to discuss more of the Casually Chelsea show and some of the things that we were not able to discuss today, plus more news as well. So that being said, we're going to raid out to Flawless over on Sarcasm City. If you guys haven't already done so, copy and paste the rated message you're going to see very shortly. Let them know where you're coming from. Casually, wherever we may be, we are the famous CFC, ladies and gents. But yeah, thank you so much for being here today, guys. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful night. Stay casual and peace.